Hello, love wrestling. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It's another new episode of Between Two Beards.
Start off with the biggest news of the week. The Rats lost! If you got the budget, I've got the time.
There he is.
Hey, boss!
There's the boss.
Hey!
The man with the finest beard on this screen.
Canadian men, boys, shut the hell up. Let me talk.
You see, the Rads are resourceful. When I got beef with somebody, I can find a way to talk to them.
Hello, love wrestling. It is Thursday night. It is 8 p.m. And y'all know what that means.
I know.
What? You know what it means?
I know.
Yeah. It's another episode of Between Two Beards. A big one tonight. Momentarily, once our pal joins us, we will have the great Phil Lindsey on the show with us tonight from Grapsity Pod over on Fightful with Righteous Reg. He will be joining us momentarily. When he pops in, we will get him on the screen. We're going to be talking some AEW Dynasty, some road to WrestleMania. We're going to be talking it all tonight with our pal Phil. And until Phil pops in here,
hit that like button.
How we doing?
Hit that subscribe button.
Smash that like button. We already have 6 likes, and we've been on for less than 3 minutes. So smash that like button. Let's get to as many as we can.
It helps get this to the world. It puts us in the algorithm. Hopefully Phil's on his way. Now, every time Phil comes on, there's some technical problem. I sat here. I got on early. I thought I sent the link to Phil. We're sitting here. We're getting close to time. And I go, what's up? Where's Phil? And I was like, well, let's get started. He's probably on his way. And I look in the DMs.
And you're a dummy and didn't send him the link.
And I didn't send the link. It's in his DMs, and I didn't send it, so it's not his fault. It's mine. I'm a moron. But he's gracious enough to still make time for us. He's back. Technical difficulties on my end and all. The one, the only, Phil Lindsey's in the house.
Sure is. How we doing, pal?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you making the time to join us this evening as we talk some AEW Dynasty, some road to WrestleMania, kind of everything. So thanks for joining us.
That ain't it. What
are you doing? What is this?
I'm trying to fix the thing.
Oh, you PLUGGO. This is why you don't hit the buttons, bro.
Hi, Phil.
It's been a rule since day one. You don't hit the buttons.
Every time you're here, there's problems on my end.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I don't know what it is. It's me.
No, but seriously, thank you for joining us, Phil. We're very excited to have you. Hope you're doing well and all that fun stuff.
Before we get,
I was going to say you started. Oh wait, are you going to bring up what I was going to bring up? Because I
don't know if you're going to bring up what I'm going to bring up, but every time we have Phil on, we talk a little basketball.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
SGA or Jokic for MVP.
I mean, it should be neither. But
I think it's SGA's year. I mean, it's kind of tough to not say Jokic in terms of stats, but with where OKC is as a team and like their record right now, it's hard to imagine they would have that many wins without how great he's playing.
Yeah, I think it's SGA this year. I do. Yeah. I think it's him this year. Obviously, you are a Chicago man, and I know you are not a fan of one LeBron James. And same with me, Grayson. In Boston, we don't like LeBron that much over here either. I know you touched on it on Grapsity last week, but I mean, your Bulls had one of the more exciting wins of the last half decade, maybe longer, against LeBron in those Lakers last week. As a Bulls fan, incredible, huh? That must have been quite the sequence there. That last minute of that game, that 30 seconds, whatever it was. Good stuff.
Listen, what a time, man. I don't get a lot of things as a Chicago Bulls fan to be happy about. It's been some dire times in this city for basketball. I've been a playing team for 3 years in a row. And so I got to take my wins when I can get them. And I initially thought you couldn't get better than beating these guys by 31 points. Weeks after I had to listen to people on TV tell us that the Lakers were saving basketball and now basketball is good again because these guys are winning. Give me a fucking break. So beating these guys by 31 points after that was tremendous. But man, watching the Sharks in the water circle as they had a 12-point lead on us, and I could just see all these Laker fans getting ready to troll me. And man, that sequence, man. The fact that LeBron himself gave up 9 points in that sequence made it even funnier. Everything about it, him doing that goofy Pat McAfee interview and all of that stuff, I was just like, yeah, see?
Yep.
Focus on basketball. Let's talk about Stephen A.
I was going to say,
let's talk about all the rest of this stuff. Focus on basketball.
Yeah, he's focused on Stephen A. and doing whatever that is about there. Whatever it is, obviously about Bronny and all that stuff, that seems to be the focus of what he's doing lately. It feels like he's more focused on that than I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. There was quite a bit of trolling that night, and I was restrained. I could have been a lot worse. I saw a lot of people trying to throw jokes at us, and I saw someone say, "Man, that shot was that was longer than you guys' run in the playoffs are probably going to be this year." And I was like, "Ha ha ha! It's probably going to be longer than Bronny's career too."
I love the memes of like the Josh Giddey statue next to the Jordan statue.
Yeah. Just the after shot or whatever.
Well done.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to do earlier is apparently if you hit this universal layout right here, that's not it. That's not it.
It's fine. It was fine the way. Yes.
I was asking the boss fan. I was pushing buttons. But
that's all right.
Yeah. So we got you in back here, Phil. It's been a long time since we've had you on, so we're excited to have you back. I mean, I know we want to talk Dynasty, but I gotta ask, man. John Cena on Monday. Cooking Cody? He cook him?
I mean,
I felt like it was about time.
This is easily the best thing they've done since the actual turn. The turn itself at Survivor Series was good, but it took a minute to get going. I didn't mind the first Cena promo, but I was like, all right, let's get to it. Let's get to something new. And so this promo from Monday was actually really good. I thought both guys delivered. They needed to deliver. This made this match feel like a big match. This felt like a WrestleMania match already, but they needed something to sell the tension between these guys, and this was great. Personally, I thought Cody got the better of this promo.
I did as well. I did as well.
He went all 8 Mile on Cena there.
He
went all B-Rabbit.
He tried to come out and try to take all of his ammo out of his gun. And John came with some pointed jabs. I thought the jab about him being such a mark that he would tattoo his own logo on his neck was a great shout. But there was not much he could actually say after Cody rightfully pointed out that not only are you not the people's guy, and that's why they all were soured on you, is because you were a handpicked guy for somebody that we can't even talk about anymore. And you made it easier for me to go somewhere else and start another company because you disenfranchised so many fans. And as somebody that was a disenfranchised WWE fan because mostly of the Ruthless Aggression era and John Cena, I was like, he's right. And then, John tried to come back with some cap and say, other people have come out here and said this and nobody's been able to put me away. Those are lies, John Cena. CM Punk kicked your ass in the dirt in 2011, buddy. I'm not trying to hear that, man.
Yeah, I fully agree. I thought going into Raw, the two stories that needed a little kick in the ass were John Cena and Cody and Jey Uso and Gunther. And I think we got both of them getting a kick in the ass on Monday, because I also very much loved the Gunther Usos thing that occurred on Monday. I thought since Triple H has been in charge, we've seen more like color and like violent matches and things like that than we're used to. But that was about as savage an angle. Yeah, that was about as savage an angle that we've seen in a little bit, with the way Gunther just kind of took it to a next level of like really being a savage with Jimmy and the blood and everything after that. And I thought those two stories in particular really needed something to kind of get some more juice in them, and I thought they both knocked it out of the park. I really, really enjoyed the Usos segment with Gunther. I thought it needed the last couple weeks, what we've seen with the Jay and Jimmy stuff last week, and then this and how all this played out. I thought it really added a lot to the story, because the story, at least for me personally, was becoming, it had been stale for a while. It was really that we've been hearing the same stuff week after week after week. And I thought that this really put a jolt into it as well, what we saw with Gunther and the Usos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of jolts, what's up, David? Ryan Sullivan's in the house. Everything Pro Wrestling. Tanner Lee's here. Watch out, Tanner. We're coming for you on Friday. And then Dustin's in the house. And Andy. Smash that like button. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice to see a little bit of a more ruthless side to Gunther. So we haven't really seen it in a while. And I thought that was pretty well done. That shot of Jay tied to the ring, and then Gunther's just standing over, just pummeling Jimmy. Like, well done stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gunther needed this.
How has the road to WrestleMania been for you so far, Phil? How have you felt about where we're going? Which match are you most excited for? Which match maybe needs a little bit more excitement in your eyes?
It's been pretty underwhelming, to be honest. I think that it got better after Elimination Chamber. I'm surprised how poorly the booking of both Royal Rumble winners has been. Like you said, the Jay and Gunther stuff got better this week. At one point, the Jay and Gunther stuff was fine. Jay was coming out cutting them passion promos, and then Gunther would just matter-of-factly say, I'm going to beat you because I've beaten you before. You're not on my level. You can't lace my boots. And if you challenge me, I'm going to put you through weeks of hell. Great stuff. But then it just got repetitive. We saw that same segment like 3 or 4 times. And it's like, okay, great. And so we needed something like this, like you said, to kick this thing in the ass a little bit, because Gunther, I almost want to say Gunther for the past few months has kind of not been hitting the mark as world champion. He's felt like an after that. And I think even more so since Cena turned, we've seen more of Cody on Raw. You've seen more of their angles be the centerpiece of Raw. And I'm just like, yeah, the world champion on this show is Gunther, though. So I was glad that he got a moment this week, and watching it, him standing there with the belt up, covering the blood, I'm like, buddy, I wouldn't be mad if this guy won.
And I was just going to say, Dustin in our chat just said, I'm very much in the minority here, but I really hope Gunther retains at WrestleMania. Bro. And I'm leaning that way too. And I'm like, I was not anti-Jay when all this happened. I was very much like, hey, all right, he won the Rumble. I'm happy for that guy. He's over. He deserves it. I was very much on that train. But as this continues to go, and I've always been kind of a really big Gunther guy, but I'm like, I think I don't think he's going to, but I think he should, and I want him to retain now. Like, that's where I'm at, you know?
Yeah, they've painted themselves in a bit of a corner with this because of the story that they're telling. Jay kind of has to win.
Right?
So I don't know, but personally, as a Gunther fan, and it's not that I dislike Jay. I don't dislike Jay at all. I think he's great. I think he deserves this. I think it's great that they rewarded him with the Royal Rumble win. That was a nice surprise. But the problem is, and I said this during the Rumble, everything around us was more interesting than his win. When the Roman and Rollins stuff was happening, I was like, boy, this is great. And then Punk gets involved, and Punk kicks him out. Then we get that great stomp on the outside. I was like, this is more interesting than whatever the winner of this is going to be. And we've seen even more since that. Like, this is actually more interesting. And it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate that Roman is once again getting a main event, even though he's done a whole lot of nothing this year. And the build for the women's match, Bianca, Io, and Rhea, has been so much better. And I think that they're more deserving of that spot. But because it's Roman and it's CM Punk and Seth Rollins, you're going to give them that spot. And I don't really like that. I mean, personally, as a CM Punk fan, I think it's great that he's getting a main event. But I don't like that it's happening this way. I would have preferred it if he won the Royal Rumble, to be honest with you.
And now, I guess my follow-up to that for you guys is, as we think about, did they need to tweak the Royal Rumble winner thing or just book them better? Because it's like the Royal Rumble meant like you got the main event spot, you got a championship match. Like it was a huge deal. And now we've seen like you're kind of an afterthought because we have all this other stuff that we're doing. Maybe it's just an anomaly this year because it's Cena's last ride and you got to get Punk in that main event sooner than later because let's be honest, he's getting up there in age and, you know, it's strike while the iron's hot type deal. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you won the Rumble. Who cares?
Yeah, it kind of feels like the Royal Rumble winners are formalities to progress other stories at this point. Because I've been predicting since Charlotte won that this is the start of the Becky feud when Becky comes back. It's just a number of things she keeps saying that lead me to believe that's where we're going. I mean, the obvious one is her coming back and saying, you know, when you're the GOAT, you don't have to tell everybody you're the GOAT. Everybody just knows. And it's just like, well, who was walking around calling himself the GOAT for a long time in that division? Who also was the one in multiple interviews and press conferences saying she wanted to be the first one to win 2 Royal Rumbles. It feels like this is all heading, especially with the announcement, the rumor that we're going to get an Evolution announcement, and I believe their best match together is the Evolution match.
Yeah, though that was that like wasn't a ladder match.
Last woman standing, right?
Last woman standing.
Last woman standing. Yeah, very good, very good.
So I kind of feel like this was just a formality with Charlotte to get us to the Becky feud, and I feel similar with the Jay thing, where it just feels like, oh, this is a formality to give him the world title run, and give us the full circle moment of him actually becoming a world champion after the Bloodline saga and the stuff he did with Roman. But the problem is, it just doesn't feel nearly as hot as Cody winning last year. Because when Cody won, it felt like the main storyline. This doesn't feel like a main storyline.
Yeah. And I want to ask, because Dustin in the chat mentions, again, last year in the lead up to Mania, we saw The Rock quite often in the lead up to Mania. And obviously, I feel like that was a major reason why that build to Mania felt the way it did, because we saw this new iteration of the final boss and The Rock was just being a sav. And it was just wonderful. Obviously, at Elimination Chamber, we get this all-time moment of John Cena turning and aligning with The Rock. And we haven't seen The Rock since at all.
And Cena didn't even mention him on Monday. Cody did.
Cody mentioning him this week, almost 4 Raws after, was the first time The Rock has been mentioned, like, between Cena and Cody. Cena hasn't even addressed him at all in his time cutting promos at the beginning of Raw the last 3 weeks. Do we think that is a factor of why this feels underwhelming, as we haven't seen The Rock at all? Do you think we see him over the next few weeks, or is it hey, we'll probably see him at Mania, if anything? Like, I feel like his absence has been felt here. And they were in Europe. Like, you're not going to, people didn't travel to Europe, so I get it. We'll see how the next few weeks look like now that they're back in the States. But it really has felt like that story, even though, like we said, I do feel like this Monday was the best thing we've seen between those two, Cena and Cody. It does feel like The Rock has been clearly missing in this puzzle piece heading into Mania.
Yeah, I think they had a conundrum here in that people have been chasing this Rock Roman match for about 5 years now, maybe longer. Yeah. Really longer, because
when did he come out and give him the stamp of approval at the Rumble? What year was that?
2016.
That was 2015, I believe.
So that's
about
almost
10 years. Yeah,
almost a decade. Yeah,
people have been pushing for this thing for, at the very least, 7 years. Because I would say the rumors started popping up around 2018, because it was right before the pandemic. And it just kind of feels like every year it's this dangle this carrot in front of us. Oh, we could get it this year, maybe. And last year, I felt like that was the best chance to do it. But you needed to pay off the Cody stuff. And this is, I don't want to go back and relitigate of me constantly saying the guy should have just won at WrestleMania 39. But you had to keep pushing this thing down the road, and you had Rock now. You this is the best chance. You had Rock on TV for weeks. He was back as a board of director. It felt like a now or never thing, and it didn't happen. So when it didn't happen then, I think a lot of people thought, okay, well, it has to happen at 41, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then The Rock came back on the Netflix debut and basically told us all in so many words, hey, I'm not going to be there. He did the whole Magic Johnson on us. Nope, I ain't going to be there. And everybody online kept telling me over and over again, like, you're reading this wrong. He is going to be there. I'm like, guys, I don't think he's going to be there. So I'm not shocked by any of this. I think
to be fair, he did that NXT thing where he's like, I'm 20 steps ahead of you guys.
Where he was rambling.
Yeah, where he was drunkenly rambling for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but even during the Netflix thing, I read it the same way. I'm like, I think he is just trying to give the fans something, but I don't think he'll be here for WrestleMania. And so I said this for weeks. And then when he showed up at Elimination Chamber, people were like, aha. And I'm like, but I don't think that proves anything. I still don't think he's going to be a part of WrestleMania. I think this was just a point A to point B thing. And it's just a way to continue to get us to speculate for WrestleMania 42. Is this going to be the year that we get Rock Roman? It just starts all over again.
Yep. Sure does. It sure does. Yeah. I don't.
That first Cody 39 run, they dangled the carrot of The Rock. And we all kept saying, well, if you got The Rock, you can't do Sammy. You can't do, it was just like, ugh. And so, I can see that's frustrating. But yeah, why not? Make it happen.
Like, I very much align with Phil. I was on here almost weekly between WrestleMania
I very
39
much align.
and WrestleMania 40, saying they should have just done it. Look at it. By the time it happened at the end of WrestleMania 40, I think most of us were happy with that match and how it went, and like we were all feeling good about it. But it just should have happened a year prior, because everything that happened after WrestleMania 39, Roman wasn't even defending the title. The Cody and Brock feud would have meant more if it was for the title. They would just, everything that happened after Mania would have been better if Cody was just the champ then after 39. And it was like, by the time we got to 40, it worked out. It was fine. Everybody liked it. We had a good time, but it was like, I felt the same way you did. Of like,
I very much am aligned with Jason in the chat saying Phil is cooking.
It's true. He usually does.
Phil, you always be cooking.
Usually does. Usually does.
Yeah, speaking of cooking, she must have heard her ears burning.
I was going to say,
Pluggo's in the house.
Mrs. Pluggo's in the chat. We always say hi to Mrs.
Hi,
Pluggo. So
Mrs.
hello,
Pluggo.
Mrs.
How are
Pluggo.
you?
Welcome
Good
in.
looking.
Yeah. So we have that. I have been a little
the boss wants me to try it again. Nope. Doesn't work.
It's not good. It's not working. I'm going to try it.
What is it supposed to look like?
Work. Yeah.
It's supposed to look like this. It's supposed to look like this. Only a little smaller, so we can put our little banner up, so we could do our thing and support Full Radrick, buddy. I'm trying to help the people.
Yeah, we'll promote.
Chaos is what I'm all about. All right.
Yeah, and obviously you have the personal ties with Chicago, Phil, but like I'm also very happy, and Pluggo's wearing a CM Punk shirt. I'm happy that Punk is getting his main event at Mania 2, but I have been a little underwhelmed with these couple segments that we've seen the last few weeks between these three guys. The match is going to be great. I'm not worried about that at all. I just feel like, even though it feels like it's a big match because it is these three guys and it is a big match, I was underwhelmed with the last couple segments on SmackDown involving these three. I just feel like it hasn't, as much as I think the match will hit with me, this story leading to the stuff at the Rumble, incredible, like fire, great. But since then, and the stuff at the cage match at MSG afterwards was also very good. I very much enjoyed that too. But after that, I feel like it's been kind of, like you said, just underwhelming. Just kind of like, okay, well, I just need a little bit more with these three guys too, I feel like, in these last couple of weeks to kind of get me a little bit more excited too. It's just kind of all the way around, huh? I don't know. It just feels a little off.
I think they had a great build here coming out of WrestleMania last year with Roman and Rollins. And then you did some great stuff with the War Games match and the build to that with Rollins, and you had already set it up. If you have listened to me on my podcast, Grapsity, every Saturday at noon, I've been saying for about 3 years, the WrestleMania match is Roman versus Rollins. It's right there. It's been teed up for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I thought that this was the year. If you're not going to do the Rock Roman match, it's right there. You've teed this thing up. And that's not to say that Punk versus Roman isn't also a good replacement for Rock versus Roman either. But I just think with the history that both of these guys have with Roman, you're doing a bit of a disservice by trying to squash them into one big triple threat match, because you're not really telling the story of their rivalries well individually. You're trying to rush all of these things along. Because I mean, the stuff with Roman and Punk along, like you've got the Colt Cabana podcast and make Roman look strong. You've got the needle mover stuff when Punk was over in AEW. You've got the jabs that Roman was throwing at him on TV and on talk shows and all these other things. You've got so much stuff. And then you've got the Heyman stuff in the middle. That all in itself is a great story. And we haven't scratched the surface with that, because you got to try to serve too many masters here.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the Rollins stuff. Rollins has so much great history with him. And I don't think you've done a great job of showing us that. I mean, you've got, just from Royal Rumble 2022 alone, all the way up to this point, you've got such a great long running story there, and you're not really tapping into what makes that interesting, because you're trying to do too much at once. And that's why
Seth doesn't even want Punk. Seth failed, if anything, to keep Punk out of the main event at WrestleMania, and here we are. And so I'd like him to tap into that a little bit more, and it drives Seth crazy. But he's kind of like, all right, I'm into.
Yeah, I just think that the Punk Rollins stuff has been interesting, but I feel like they should have made a decision to go with one or the other. And I don't want to, again, belabor this point, but this is, again, why I think it made more sense for Punk to win the Rumble. He had never won a Rumble before. Las Vegas is a very big city for him. That's where he cut the pipe bomb. It's also where he won the AEW championship at Double or Nothing. So the idea of him winning his first Rumble and punching his ticket to his first ever WrestleMania main event in Las Vegas, that was a moment. They could have built this so much better, and getting it this way where it's in a contract, it's not nearly as interesting.
Yeah,
agreed.
Do you fall in line with the WrestleMania Night One main event isn't truly the main event of WrestleMania, or are you just like, you know what I mean? Because is it or is it not? I personally think it is. I don't see. It's two different shows, two different nights. He gets to be in the main event of a WrestleMania. I'm okay with it. But the way that they went there, way they've gotten there, like you said, it's like they kind of rushed it, and there's other things they could have done to even, have him win the Rumble, challenge Gunther or something like he said he was gonna do. Punk said he was gonna do that like 2 or 3 weeks before the Rumble, and then he never even mentioned him again.
I think that's the other.
No, it was right after the Hell in a Cell, wasn't it?
Oh,
he cut that promo and he was like, "I'm coming for you, Gunther," and then it just never happened.
He mentioned it way before that. He mentioned it after he beat Drew at Bash at Berlin. Because he was like, I'm done with him now. I beat him. I'm done with Drew. I'm setting my sights on championship gold. I want to be champion. And after that, Drew came out and jumped him, and that was the setup for the cage match. And so after he beat him at Hell in a Cell, he said, all right, I'm done. Done with that now. We're moving on. I want to be champion. And then we never went back to that. And so I kind of felt like the story was there for him to go along and win the Rumble. He also, on the debut episode of Netflix, he cut that great promo at the end of the show where he was saying, I'm going to win the Rumble and I'm going to be champion. And so I thought the story was there, and then they just didn't do it. I don't know why. Which that's a minor gripe, because again, not really mad at Jay winning. I just think that there were more interesting options.
I agree.
But yeah, this build, I just think I was never a big fan of doing the triple threat in the first place because of this reason. It's just, I don't feel like they've been able to tell either of these guys' stories with Roman that well, because you're trying to rush this, and then not having Roman on TV often enough has hurt it as well. It just, I don't know, man, because the thing that people want out of this that they haven't gotten, and the thing that they've wanted since the build to War Games, Once you get these two guys in a ring together, give us the promo. There's all this animosity, 10 years worth of animosity between these guys that we haven't gotten yet. And to just do this contract signing and everybody's jokey and we're not getting there, it kind of feels like where we are with Cena and Cody, where we're just waiting for this big promo between these two guys to really sell us on this match.
Yeah, I agree. If I were to ask you right now, what do you think CM Punk's favor is going to be? Because he said at the end of this promo that me getting in this match and making a main event is not it's not the favor.
He's going to help him move.
So I'm trying to think. I have said maybe Heyman in his corner at WrestleMania. Like he asked Heyman to be with him for the match, but I do feel like that. I feel like that could be interesting, but it could also be underwhelming to some people. But like, where are you at? What do you think this favor is going to be? Because he still has that in his back pocket here.
I don't know. I kind of feel like this is going to be him using that to get a world title match at some point.
Yeah.
How much pull does Heyman have, though, to make that happen, right?
Well, he had enough pull to get them in the main event without winning the Royal Rumble. So, obviously a lot.
Yeah, he does. He does have a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, because we discussed it last week or something like that. And we were just like, I mean, like, being in his corner, like, what does that do to, what does that ultimately do to Roman if Heyman is in Punk's corner? It's just a psychological thing, but he doesn't need Heyman to beat Punk.
I was kind of waiting for them when he said that it's in there in the contract. I was kind of waiting for the favor to be the winner of the night 1 main event gets inserted into the night 2 main event. That's what I was kind of waiting for, and it didn't happen. So I was like, I don't know what it is then.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind this becoming like winner of this match is the number 1 contender. Yes. For whoever wins Jay and Gunther on Raw, whatever title you want to make it for or whatever. But I do feel like this match, especially if it's going to main event night 1, which it seems like it's going to, clearly, a little bit of stakes added in would be a nice little add-on if they were like, hey, you guys are technically all on Raw, so whoever wins this match is the number 1 contender for whoever comes out of Mania, the champ between Gunther and Jay. And then I feel like if it is Jay, and you do Roman, and you can lean into Roman and Jay. There's things you can do that would be very interesting coming out of that if this were that type of thing.
But see, again, they've painted themselves in the corner. So if Roman wins and he's number 1 contender, I feel like Jay has to win. I feel like Jay has to finally beat Roman, or what is the point of all of this?
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
Yeah, because there's not really anything built in with Rollins and Jay or Punk and Jay, and then I guess you could, if you think Cena's winning night 2 with Cody, you could do Punk. You could do Punk, Cena, Rollins. I mean, there's more there, but then you got to make that make sense too. There's a lot going on here, man. I saw a couple people in the chat saying that the this feels rushed. I actually think that pushing Mania back a couple weeks has hurt it because they have too much time, and they're like, and then they kind of like they did this overseas thing, and they know the overseas is going to hit no matter what, right? Like they don't have to really do anything extraordinary. They just have to show up, and they usually will have a good time. So maybe I don't know. There's a lot left on the table here. It's weird. Like I don't have a definite answer on most of the matches. I'm like, I don't know how it's going to go, which is a good thing, but it's also like, these stories are still a lot left to be told. So maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being crazy here.
Yeah, I don't know. And then we have like, we don't even have like we're going to have a multi-person match for the IC title. We might have a multi-person match for the tag titles on SmackDown. They can easily do that with all those teams. I am of the opinion that it would be pretty crucial and important to have both new women's mid-card titles on this WrestleMania. It is in their first year of infancy. They should be on this WrestleMania. I think that gives them importance, but I don't know if that's going to happen, and I feel like if they do, those will be multi-person matches as well, or they could be maybe. It's just there's a lot of what we have is, like we said, it's been a little bit underwhelming, and there's already a bunch of multi-person matches, and it feels like there's no, like, we need more matches on the card, but there's nothing definitive that's going to be, you know what I mean? It just feels like we're in a little bit of no man's land with 2 weeks to go until WrestleMania. It's like, okay, well, what are we doing with half of the titles on your show?
So correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Bayley have an IC title match?
Yes, on
Monday.
On Monday, yes.
Which we've completely glossed over her stuff with Roxanne. That seems to be dead in the water.
That's what I was wondering. Is Bayley going to win this match? And we're going to go with Bayley and Roxanne for WrestleMania.
Maybe.
Yeah, because now Roxanne is going to be in the 6. No, she lost the match, but she's still down. And I don't know if it's she didn't go to Europe, so they just wanted her to be fresh in our minds. So she was on NXT still longer, because I do feel like her NXT run ended already a while ago. Like, I feel like. But she didn't go to Europe, so I don't know if that's the reason why since Chamber they've been like, yeah, we're pulling away from Roxanne and Bayley because she just simply didn't make the trip or not. I'm not really sure, but it felt like we were heading towards that being a match at Mania, which would be a great debut match for Roxanne at Mania and a great match for Bayley. That's a great match with those two. It's a good match. It feels like it's the right match, but it feels like we've just gone away from it completely. So maybe Roxanne shows up on Monday, costs Bayley the match, or maybe Bayley does get the victory and there's a stare down out. I don't know. But that hopefully would be a way they still go, especially now if it could be for the IC title. Like, I think that would be a great mid-card title match there for Mania if you can fit it in.
Yeah, I'm worrying more and more. One of the better stories they've been telling in either women's division is not going to end up on the Mania card, because I don't know how Naomi and Jade fit on the card.
Yeah.
This has been such a good storyline. Naomi has been knocking it out the park with this heel turn. And I feel like it would be a shame if they don't do something with them at Mania, but it kind of feels like this is one of those matches that's going to happen on the go-home week before.
On that SmackDown.
Yeah, on the SmackDown or Raw before WrestleMania, but not actually next the card.
This is the Naomi we've all wanted, man. That was fantastic on Friday.
Yeah, maybe they do a multi-women match for the U.S. title, and both Jade and Naomi are in that match. Other than that, I don't know, because I don't know that I believe they're going to put a one-on-one match with Naomi and Jade in this match on this card. They should, but I don't know that I buy that. And, what are they doing with the tag belts? Alexa came back, got a great pop at 2 pay-per-views, and then just disappeared off TV. It sure seemed like they were building Alexa versus Liv, and that seemed to lead me to believe it was going to be a tag title match, and it hasn't developed into anything. So I don't know.
Yeah,
there's and then Spencer's in the chat. What's up, boss? Saying how many matches are announced for Mania? He's saying, is it safe to assume that about 14 between the 2 nights, so 7 and 7?
Probably 7 and 7.
Yeah, 7 right
now. And maybe they'll do a pre-show match. Sometimes they do.
They
sometimes
didn't do pre-show matches last year.
Yeah, I feel like they don't really do
them
anymore. No, right now there are 7 matches announced right now. So there's 7 total. I feel like somehow in the next 2+ weeks here, we should get about 7 more, like we said, to have like a 7 show, like at minimum.
We're gonna get the Michael Cole doing his best Excalibur like the night before, just being like, it's tomorrow at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I feel like 7 matches a night is kind of a good wheelhouse for them to have. So right now we have 7 announced. So you would hope, and that's not including the IC title, the tag titles, any of the other mid-card titles, which we assume at least maybe a few of them will get on the show. I agree with you, Phil. I feel like Jade and Naomi have earned a one-on-one WrestleMania match with this story. I think it would make sense, especially with Bianca having what should be a main event match on the show. You can intertwine, whatever. Like I do feel like that is a match that should happen at this Mania.
Bianca, if they're not gonna have the match, one of Naomi or Jade is gonna take Bianca out of this match, right?
I've been predicting for
right, because she seems to be getting away scot-free here.
Yeah, I feel like I've been predicting for a few weeks that Naomi's going to help Bianca win. And that's how she's going to keep her WrestleMania streak. Just the fact that it feels like she keeps saying, I'm right about this. Why is everybody booing me? And she continues to get booed. I very much think Bianca's going to turn heel. I think it's inevitable. Because I've been saying I think she's going to turn heel since Jay was away. And the longer this goes, the more I kind of feel like Naomi kind of has a point. At every turn, I'm like, I kind of I kind of see her point.
No.
She did say in that promo, she's like, I've always done what's right every time, my entire career, and this time is no different. So yeah, I could see that. Will Bianca be accepting of Naomi's, let's say, gift to help her win the championship? Would she be cool with that, or would that start maybe something with them as well?
Maybe not initially, but there's so much you can do with Bianca winning here and turning heel, because they're not going to turn Rhea. Rhea's way too over at this point. It would be a big mistake to try and turn Rhea. And you want to do the one-on-one match between Rhea and Bianca. And if you're going to do that, Bianca's going to have to be heel. Like, it's just in order for it to work. And the end goal for this has to be Bianca Jade, right?
I would imagine so.
Yes,
yeah.
I would think, yes. I personally think that I see Bianca leaving Mania as the champion, whether it's turning heel at Mania or slightly after. I do think she will be heel champion. And then of this story, I think, SummerSlam, Bianca and Jade one-on-one for the title, if you want to do that, like, is a big, big match. I think you start the build, and I think next year's Mania, Rhea and Bianca one-on-one should be one of the main events, like, of one of the nights of Mania. Like, you can build a longer feud to them two, because I do feel like that is probably the biggest match they have that we haven't seen proper. Rhea and Bianca, like, proper one-on-one. I feel like that's a giant match for them as a company, and that should be a main event.
They still have Bianca Charlotte on the table.
That is true, too.
They haven't done either. And
Yes,
I feel
that
like
is true,
that's
too.
the big one. I also feel like that's why you've got to keep Bianca's WrestleMania streak going, because the big way to build this WrestleMania match is for Miss WrestleMania. Both of them have a claim to that.
And you know how Charlotte loves busting up streaks at WrestleMania.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does. People would be irate if she did it again. But it would be money. It'd be a money match for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we still have a few weeks. They're back officially in the States now. They're in Chicago on Friday for SmackDown, correct?
Are they?
No. Are they? Yeah. Are they in your neck of the woods on Friday, I think?
I think
they might be.
They're in Cincinnati for Raw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think they might be in Chicago Friday. I think they might. But either way, they're back in the States now for the next couple weeks. So we'll see how everything kind of continues to round up to the final card heading on to the road of WrestleMania. But yeah, there are a lot of uncertainties and still a lot of unknowns for only being a few weeks out
which I guess,
from Mania. So.
I guess I'm only complaining because I do content, but it's good. It's good that there's still a lot left to dissect and not just like, oh, it's a foregone conclusion.
1,000%.
I guess I'll look at it positively.
Yeah, and I just want to, and I know NXT,
it's because Phil's here. I'm going to think positive today.
Yeah, we saw Ricky Saints win the North American Championship on NXT on Tuesday. It looks like him and Ethan Page are on a collision course for the Stand and Deliver show.
You said collision? Like AEW?
Man, like, that end sequence. And again, I'm not one of those guys. We obviously love both. I watch both
we do
religiously. But that end sequence with Ethan Page standing over, I'm just like, man, like, what are we doing? And the crowd, the crowd's chanting like Tony fumbled or whatever they would chant.
Do you ever notice though, like when AEW signs WWE talent, everybody's like, oh, look at them signing ex-WWE guys to try to stay relevant. But like when NXT does it, they're just like, oh, it's cool. Like, look at that. Ricky finally getting a real shot. It's like these people are wrestlers and they're going to go to wrestling companies to continue their profession. Like I always use this analogy, like if LeBron James got fired from the Lakers tomorrow, he would never play basketball again. He'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go play for whoever because I'm a basketball player. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the show, man.
It just is what it is. It didn't work out for whatever reason in AEW.
Yeah.
He seems happy where he is. So great for him. I don't think we need to do this whole fumble talk. I don't really see it as a fumble. I think there are other wrestlers that they lost that I was kind of like, boy, they're going to regret that one. I don't really see this one so much as that because of the way things were going.
I
it just seemed like a mutual thing.
Yeah, it seemed like it was there's two sides to this Ricky and Tony thing. I can't imagine Tony Khan was just like, I am absolutely unequivocally not using this guy. There had to be, which is fine. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. And we got the news that Miro has re-signed.
Rusev Day's back.
Rusev Day, yeah. Rusev or Miro, whatever they're going to go by. He has re-signed. So he is heading back to WWE at some point. We've also seen vignettes for what many people think will be Malachi Black returning soon to WWE. We know that on Friday night, Rey Fenix will be debuting on SmackDown officially, and we've seen how much of a success Penta has been since he's shown up. Like I think he's knocked all expectations out of the park with how they presented him and things of that nature. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, hey man, things don't work out sometimes. They go where they want to go. Like if you see the joy on Penta's face at the end of the day, that's all that should matter is he's somewhere now that he's happy. He gets to wrestle every week. He's a very much important part of the show. He might leave WrestleMania as a champion. So you know what I mean? Like it's a cool.
How dare he make money for his family and do what he loves? What a piece of shit.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Penta thing, I won't say that they fumbled him. I do think that they missed opportunities with him as a singles wrestler. And you see that more and more with him on Raw, the way he's presented. Boy, he comes out swaggy, man, with the entrance and the jackets and stuff. Like I saw an Instagram pic of him the other day, and he was in a cab or something. He had his feet kicked up with his like Louis bag next to him. I was like, bro.
we interviewed him at the Rumble, and he was just like the coolest dude. He was chill. He was like, yeah, dude is money. He's got a charisma about him. That, like you said, I don't think they fumbled him in AEW, but I just don't think they saw it or they just didn't.
They didn't use him to his full capabilities as a singles wrestler. I think they should have let him cut more promos, and that's very clear here too. Yeah, but happy for him. I think that this is great. The merch thing is unfortunate because I don't think that was entirely on AEW. I think that was a licensing thing. Why they didn't have the masks and why they weren't selling them. But, you know, fell in WWE's lap. They got this guy white hot, and then you've got the merch and everything. As soon as he comes in, kind of feels like it was served up on a silver platter.
Yeah, literally. And the promo thing is what has stood out to me. Yeah. Seeing all the promos that he's doing and just how good he is at cutting promos, I was like, why? Even if you wanted to keep him as just a tag team guy, like, why weren't they cutting promos?
They gave him Alex Abrahantes.
Yeah, like he can clearly talk. Yeah. Why were they? And Rey Fenix can talk too. Like, why were they not cutting promos? It just, it's crazy. That's the one thing that has stuck out to me the most. Of like, why were you not wanting this guy to talk?
And then Phoenix is showing up tomorrow on SmackDown for his debut match.
Yeah.
And we're going to see what he can do. Phoenix is one of my favorite like wrestlers. Like he's just so talented. So I'm excited to see what they do with him. And oh man, WWE, like they're cooking right now and they're doing very well with this former AEW talent. I'm happy for them all. And it makes for great TV though. It makes you go,
yeah. And I like what they're doing, separating them and having them become solo stars on separate brands. So then when we do get the Lucha Brothers, they are established WWE like solo stars at that point. So it's a bigger deal even.
And they'll wrestle the New Day for the tag team championships. And it's going to be awesome.
I ain't against it. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
They've got a whole bunch of big matchups over there. You've got Motor City Machine Guns. You've got the Usos.
Street Profits.
Eventually, Street Profits. Like, you've got a bunch of options with those guys. The rumor, I don't know if this is all over. The rumor is that the Rey Fenix feud will be with Andrade.
Yes, I did see that earlier today as well, yeah.
Which, hopefully, that leads to something for Andrade because he's been kind of just languishing, unfortunately. He was doing so great initially in that Carmelo feud, and I enjoyed him, but since then, it's been a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, agreed.
That best of 7 was really good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully
I don't know what you do with Andrade. I don't know. They do this. They always, and they did it. They stop him. They start him. They stop him. They start him. Like they've done that kind of with him his whole time. That's why he left the first time.
Just put him back with Selena and make him a heel.
Yeah, why not?
They moved her over to Smack. It's like, why? Just do it. Just do it. They worked together so great in NXT, and when they first came up to the main roster, like, just do it. What is she? Because ever since she's moved to SmackDown, she's had some matches. It looks like maybe Chelsea and the U.S. title is in her sights and things like that. But like, yeah, like I feel like that's a no-brainer. Just put them back together.
She's one too that needs a little spark, because I
agree.
She does the Jey Uso like underdog promo every time, and it's like, I need a little bit more from you, Zelina, just a little bit more. So yeah, put them two back together. Let's get this going. We're making money for you, Trips. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, Scott says it in the chat. I wouldn't be against this either, but he's like, I was kind of hoping Andrade would eventually make his way to Raw and join the Judgment Day. If they go the
Judgment Day is the faction that will never die. Never die.
Never done.
And
when you think they're down and out, they figure out a way to extend it for 6 more months, baby.
End it. I saw Finn Balor say that's the best faction he's ever been, and I was like, buddy,
come on, you can't say that, Finn. Maybe Finn Balor, the character, because he wasn't Finn Balor in Japan. If he meant that way. If he meant that way, but what the hell?
Wrestling fans aren't separating the two.
You can't say that. Yeah, I don't know. Is everybody ready for Dominic Mysterio to potentially leave WrestleMania as the IC champ?
Yes.
Is everyone ready for that? Because if they do a 4-way, I'm low key like, would they?
Don't do this.
Would they do
Please
that?
Don't.
Would they do it?
I maintain that if you're gonna do it, if you are gonna do it, have him lose the next night on the Raw after WrestleMania, Zack Ryder style. Like,
bro,
give it to him, but then have him get squashed out by whoever may debut or whatever, return or whatever you want to do. Just if you're gonna do it.
Bro, if they put that belt on Dom, I will be effectively in the camp of putting the belt back on Braun was a waste of time.
It's fair. That's fair.
It's a big waste of time. If you were going to do that, you could have just had Jay get all the way up to Mania as champion. Like, I don't understand why we did this.
It's fair. That's fair. I don't hate it.
Maybe Braun moves up into the world title picture, but it's super. There's a lot going on up there though too. He'd have to really find his place quicker than I think, because there's a lot of heavy hitters in that world title division right now. Not saying Braun isn't, but
I mean, he's eventually going to be a world champion.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think he would be one of the favorites for Money in the Bank. Immediately, he would have to be up there in the short list of.
I think he might have he would have already gotten there if they didn't CM Punk didn't return, right? Then Drew got really hot, and Seth's been killing it, and then Cody, there's just all these things. They were grooming him down to the 2.0 era to be that guy. And there was one point that we thought, okay, he could be the guy that challenges Roman at one point. I remember JPJ at one point saying something like that. And then I think there just ended up being a lot of other things that fell into place. So right now, just get a long IC title run for him, I think to establish him would be a good idea. So no dirty Dom, huh? No chicken tendies. He'll eat some chicken tendies off that IC title. No?
Please don't do that to us.
What dirty Dom ever do to you, Phil? What do he do to you, huh?
Who won
the breakup? Who won the breakup? Dirty Dom or Rhea? I think Dom has been more successful than Rhea since they split.
You think so? Rhea became world champion since they split.
Well, she
became a world champion.
Then she lost it. She's been struggling. She lost all of her people.
Well, according to ESPN, Dominic Mysterio is the top wrestler under 30.
Yeah, incredible, unbelievable. Wow, I couldn't believe that.
Who do we know at SI that wrote? We gotta call it.
No, ESPN. This was ESPN, wasn't it?
It was ESPN.
I mean, look at I don't dislike Dominic Mysterio by any means, but really, come on.
On the same list with Tony Storm.
MJF was on that list.
MJF,
well.
Mariah May.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley. Come on.
Come on now.
What's the criteria for the list?
It was just top wrestlers.
Top 30 wrestlers under 30.
Yes.
That was it. There was no the parameters or this. The guy or gal that wrote that was like, I got to get some clicks on this. I need some money.
Dominic Mysterio over MJF, Tony Storm, Mariah May.
That's the key to success when you write lists, though, is you got to throw some curveball in there that gets everybody riled up. Because if you don't do that,
that's not a curveball plug.
No, but I'm saying if you don't do that, everybody just goes, "Oh yeah, that list makes sense. Let's move on." Dominic Mysterio's at the top.
You also need to have
commenting on that list.
Yeah, but you also need to have credibility. And I think if you see a list of those people, that I don't think Dom at the top.
The three of us have seen the wrestling media landscape. That's not true. You just have to have a take.
Yeah. All right. So let's make our way this Sunday.
Yeah, see, look, Ophelia gets it. PLUGGO knows about riling people.
Yeah, riling people. Yeah, that's all you do. Hey. That's all you do.
That's not true.
I'm kidding. But this Sunday night,
Culp's in the house too. Hi, Culp.
AEW live from Philadelphia. That's where it is, right? Philly, yes. Philly. AEW Dynasty. Right now, as of this moment, we have 9 matches on the card. I would expect a couple pre-show matches and maybe one more main show match to be added here at Collision on Saturday or by the time we get to this show. But right now we have 9 matches on the card. 7 of them are title matches.
Wait, is Spencer agreeing with me in the chat? He says, so where was the curveball? Was probably after Dominic because that's not controversial.
No, all right. Well, hey, it is.
Hey!
You know? So let's dive in to what's going on in Dynasty and what's kind of been the lead up to Dynasty here. Obviously, when you talk about what happened on Dynamite last night, the show started and ended with Swerve and the Death Riders. They had a great mixed tag match to start the show. I thought that was a lot of fun with Marina and Moxley versus Swerve and Willow. I thought Swerve and Willow were a great pairing. They were very, very good. And I did like how there was some intergender stuff going on. Obviously, at the end of the match, after the match, we saw Mox drop Willow.
Piece of shit there.
Right in there and dropped her there.
Yeah.
But I thought that was good. And then everything kind of led to the end of the night where, you know, the glass spot with Swerve and he sat up like the Undertaker and he looked like a major badass that we know he is. And you could see not fear in Moxley, but you could see Moxley going like, oh shit, this is a different cat. This is a different cat I'm dealing with here. Which I thought it was a good little thing to end there. It's weird because this Death Rider stuff, and I'll ask you because it's been a while since you've been on here. This Death Rider stuff has been really been a miss for me. Like it's been kind of, but I feel like since Revolution, they've been doing stuff I've enjoyed the most of this whole thing with the Death Riders since Revolution. Now, I think you can look at that and say, well, that's because it's going against Swerve and Swerve is special. So I think that enhances it as well because of the opponent. But I do feel like honestly, it's been going on for 7 or 8 months and I feel like I'm more intrigued about the Death Riders now than I have been this whole time. But like Swerve has to win on Sunday, right?
He
come on.
Come on.
PLUGGO's going to disagree with us because he wants to see the world burn.
That's not true. That's not true. Go on.
Swerve has to take it, right, man?
This Death Rider stuff has not been very good for a few months. I think the matches have not been great. I did not like the Revolution main event on a card that was exceptional. I thought the rest of this show was great. That main event was a big low point on the show for me. I thought the finish was good. The Christian finish was dumb. I mean, you had to get yourself out of a corner because you stuck yourself with this contract gimmick, and you had to get away with it or throw it away. And I mean, that was the best way to get there. I feel like you're at least gonna be able to do some Christian and Cope stuff out of that should be interesting.
And Cope's Christian's explanation was worse on top of it. It didn't do him any favors.
Yeah, I do. But again, I think it's going to work out because you started the Nick Wayne stuff, and this is going to go somewhere at least. But I thought Swerve salvaged the ending of this show when he was up there perched like Batman, and he jumped down on the crowd, and he posed at the end to signal that he is coming back for the belt, and he's going to restart the Dynasty era. I was like, this is it. You've got to put this belt back on him. I mean, the reception he got during his match, we had Leslie Jones going nuts during his
incredible.
match.
She ruled. She ruled.
Incredible.
Yeah, fantastic.
They should have just had a Leslie Jones cam, like in the corner picture-in-picture style, the whole night. She was owning it.
Yeah, you had the great story stuff with him and Nana, and people bid on it. People loved it. So I think you've got to put the belt back on this guy. Like, I also love the story of uh, Revolution in a sense that everybody coming into Revolution, there were at least 3 or 4 guys that have been locked into blood feuds coming into that pay-per-view. And so they finished up those feuds. And now I can go on and move on to the world title. And you've got MJF that was in the midst of that. Hangman, Will Ospreay, and Swerve. All 4 of those guys should be heading back to the world title. 2 of those guys are in the Owen, and you've got Swerve. So either Swerve is going to win this at Dynasty, or I'm assuming whoever is going to win the Owen is going to win it at All In. You cannot wait for Darby. You just can't. You can't.
He's on Everest. Now, listen. I know what he's thinking. I don't want the world to burn. I just think that they are so invested in this Death Riders thing that they want us all to just be. And I want Swerve to win. Swerve is the man. Swerve's one of my favorites. But I think that they want us so convinced that it's going to be Swerve that they do it one more time on us and go, nope. I don't get me wrong. I don't agree with it. I don't think, but I think that they want to go. Everybody's invested. Everybody thinks it'll be Swerve, and it should be. He's white hot. He's white hot. Up. We got you one more time, and then we're gonna do this thing at All In.
And look, I'm good with the idea of that and getting the heat off of it. Great, but Swerve has been so undeniable since he dropped
for
that
sure.
belt. He hasn't missed every feud you've put him in since he dropped that belt. He's been fantastic. The Hurt Syndicate stuff with him was great. He, really revitalized Ricochet in that feud and everything else he's done. I mean,
elevated Mox to an extent. Mox has got to go toe to toe. Yeah, no, for sure.
I thought the promo that he had with Mox last week was the best Mox has been in weeks.
Yes.
And even the stuff last night from Dynamite, I was like, this is great. You had Mox, it seemed like trying to duplicate the stuff with Omega, where he threw Omega through that glass table. And I was like, that's such a great callback. But sure, if you're going to do that and get the heat, fine. But the wrinkle in this that makes me feel even more like Swerve has to win is that you've teased us again on this Hangman Swerve thing. You can't just leave that lingering now.
Right.
After the ending to this show and the stuff that we got with him and Hangman backstage, you've got to go back to that match. You can't. Swerve as champion at the end of Dynasty and Hangman entering the Owen. That's the story. That's so much more interesting than anything else you could do.
Swerve basically agreeing that, burning my house down, I deserve that, was just like 2 words. That's all I need. I was like, holy shit.
And I feel like the perfect way to end this Hangman redemption arc that he started this year is for him to make it back to the world title and win. I feel like this is leading to him going to All In as the challenger against Swerve of all people and finally getting the win.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved, and it was only for 30 seconds, but that whole sequence with Hangman and Swerve, I mean, anything those guys do,
so
we're all in it for. And Hangman's face when Swerve said, "I know," and Hangman's face, like,
just confused.
He was just like,
What?
Wait, what? And like, it makes me think, like, do we think Hangman gets involved in this? Like, do we?
He's probably sitting somewhere right now, still thinking about what I know.
Yeah.
What?
I think he should. I think
to help Swerve.
I think he should help Swerve win.
If like the Death Riders start to do their bullshit, like Hangman's one of the guys that comes out and is like, no, and helps Swerve.
Like, I still hate you, but I want this shit to end.
Yes,
this Death Rider stuff. Like, I want next.
And not just that, I have unfinished business with you. Beating him means more, and beating him for the championship means more than just beating Mox, because he's never beat him. The unsanctioned match doesn't count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I liked everything they did the last couple weeks, really, but I've really liked everything they've done here these last few weeks with these two. I think Moxley has been as his best as well.
So drop the pick, Swerve or Mox.
Oh, God.
Why you think you said Swerve?
Yeah, but that's going with my heart. I want Swerve.
I'm tentatively gonna go with Swerve. I'm cautious because I have reason to believe that Mox could win here. Because the other thing is, if you don't go with Swerve, I can make the strong argument here that Ospreay should just win the Owen and put the belt on Ospreay, because Ospreay is the hottest guy in this company. Every pay-per-view, he has the best match, and when a guy is that productive for you, if he's that big and he's overshadowing the main event, you gotta make that guy champion. Eventually, you gotta make that guy the main event.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of why, even though with my heart I want Swerve to win, but earlier today on Firmly AEW we did a picks, and I picked Moxley to retain. Not because I want it to happen. I don't want to get fooled again, because I thought Moxley was not going to leave as champion.
I convinced you that I was crazy.
Yeah.
You flamed the take, and here you are.
Listen,
Team Mox, baby.
But I agree with Phil. I do think that they are setting it up that Ospreay is going to be the guy. He's going to win the Owen. It's going to be him at All In. I do feel like it's going to be him. And look, we saw him and Swerve already. Him and Swerve would be excellent again. No question. But I think if you're going to pull the trigger and have Ospreay be the guy, it means more if he's the guy that finally takes it away from Mox.
Well, then are we ready for the Death Riders to reign all the way
That's what,
through
trust me,
July?
I don't want the Death Riders thing to go on because All In is not next month. It's 3 months away still.
Yeah.
Like it's, so it's like
fine.
if Mox beats Swerve, it's not just like, oh, well, we just have to wait another month. It's like,
he's
going to have it for a bit still now.
When does the Owen end? Does it end at Double or Nothing then?
Double or
Double or Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then,
But this is what I'm saying, bro. Hangman winning the Owen after the way he entered last year, and going to All In when a lot of people wanted the main event of All In to be Swerve versus Hangman, and getting the match this year in Texas, bro. Hangman riding in victoriously on a horse to win the title in All In.
What is he, Elijah now?
Yeah. Listen. Ideally, that would be what I would want, is Swerve to win on Sunday and Hangman to win the Owen, and then we get them two in the main event of All In for the title the way it should be.
Yes.
That's what I would want.
And the horse reference, if people don't know, the other time that he rode in on a horse was his first world title match against Chris Jericho, and he lost that match.
And does he have the same horse? Will it be the same horse?
Bring the horse back.
Bring it
this
back.
time. Win the match in Texas of all places. Cowboy hats everywhere. Cowboy should have. Come on, man. This is the move.
Yeah, the Rangers Stadium. So we're talking about the Owen. I think that's a great transition to the women's Owen was announced as well. We've got Mercedes Moné and Athena on the same side of the bracket.
Same side of the
and they're gonna wrestle on Saturday. Is that a mistake, having them wrestle, even interact a little bit on Saturday in a tag match, and then have them on the same side of the Owen? Shouldn't they have been on different crash courses for the finals, maybe?
I think they want us to think there's a chance that Mercedes can lose. I don't believe them. I think that Mercedes is going to win Owens, guys. I think that all of this is leading to her potentially ending up in the world title picture by All In.
Yeah. I fully agree with you. I think that is what it's going to be. I think it's going to be her fighting for the world title at All In against whoever.
As TBS champion still? Belt collector style?
I could see it. She's already been the belt collector, as we've seen. I could easily see it.
When I saw that announced, I go, is there a chance that maybe Mercedes screws Athena and she gets?
I was going to say, what if Mercedes helps Harley beat Athena to kind of avoid Athena, and you can prolong that even more if you want.
I would hate that to happen to Athena, but it just felt like, oh, they're on the same side. There's no way. Right?
I was kind
of early.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that they would have them, like, at least, like, I'm cool with them doing this as quickly as they want to do it, I guess. But at the same time, it does feel to me that should be like a finals matchup in the Owen, not in the second round.
It does, but my theory is this, and I thought this over looking at the bracket. They teased this idea of the whole minion thing, and Athena has minions. They teased this whole idea for a while of Mercedes having underlings. She praised the Renegade Twins. Again, this isn't her first time doing that. I think that I think the Renegade Twins are going to help her win her match against Athena. I don't think they want to do Mercedes cheating to win a finals match. I think she's going to cheat to beat Athena, and I think she's going to win the finals match clean.
That's fair. I would like that.
Over Billy Starks again? Billy Starks makes a run, or
maybe. I mean, she's fighting Hayter in the first round. I think that'd be a tough. I think Hayter takes that one.
Yeah, I think we're either looking at Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes or Mercedes versus Statlander 3.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good.
Which Mercedes match is against Julia Hart will be at Dynasty. First round match. Former TBS champion Julia Hart. There's not a chance that Julia Hart pulls this thing off, is there?
No,
like if you had confidence points on this thing,
yeah,
so them all on this one, right?
We can kind of talk these two next matches together, but we do have 2 first round matchups on Dynasty. It is Mercedes versus Julia Hart, a rematch that we've seen before. I expect this match to be very good. Mercedes has been on a heater here the last handful of months here. I expect this to be very good, but yeah, there is no chance that Mercedes loses this match at all. And then on the flip side of it, unfortunately, Jay White has gotten hurt and had to be removed from the Owen. I think it was supposed to be Will and Jay White here. But Kevin Knight, what a weekend for Kevin Knight, by the way. What a weekend with the debut and the match, the tag match with Ospreay. Looks like he belongs immediately. Just good stuff. This match is going to be incredible on Sunday between these two. But this is another example. Like, there's no way in hell that Kevin Knight is beating Will Ospreay in this match. But it's going to be a potential show stealer, truly, because Kevin Knight is spectacular.
Yes.
And I think they've done very well in his first, his official weekend of being with the company, assigned, getting the graphic, and he's done really, really good stuff. But these are 2 matches that I feel like they're the 2 easiest matches to maybe pick on the show because the winner is a formality.
Yeah.
I wonder what the betting, if there was a betting line on these 2 matches.
There probably is. I would think.
What? Yeah. They've got to be the furthest apart.
Oh yeah.
Mercedes Monet over Julia Hart is probably like 75,000 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the chat, Addie. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, welcome in, Addie. We do have the Hurt Syndicate, who they're kind of dealing with other things currently, but we do have the Hurt Syndicate defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I feel like this was supposed to be Archer and Cage, but Cage is also a little banged up, so the learning tree is kind of slid in. I love MVP, how he's like, hey, why don't you guys win some matches? And respectable win against Top Flight. That is a respectable tag team win. And then they just beat the crap out of 2 jobbers last night. And they're like, yeah, you get a title match. Okay, well, great. Yeah. But this is happening. Again, this is another, the Hurt Syndicate are going to retain, I would think, pretty easily here. But I do want your opinion on the match, but also how you feel in the MJF stuff that we've seen going on with the Hurt Syndicate. Now, last night, they had a promo. MJF was trying to convince Bobby that he should be cool with him joining and things like that. And Bobby was like, if MVP wasn't here, I'd beat your ass. I'd beat your ass right now. But and he says, you need to prove it to me. And MJF was like, fine, I will prove it to you. Do we think that MJF proves it by maybe getting involved in this match and helping? Not that they need help to beat but how do we think MJF proves to Bobby Lashley that he should? Is it by getting involved and helping them win here, maybe?
This feels like a bizarro inverse version of Sammy trying to get in the good graces of Bloodline. He's going to try. He's going to help them win this match, and then we're going to get a lot of funny segments of him ingratiating himself and Bobby starting to like him. But eventually, they're going to toss MJF out.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the MVP Bobby stuff, where Bobby's like it's like they're teasing a breakup, but it would be silly to break up the Hurt Syndicate. So it's just a disagreement between the 2 of them. But it's been really cool to see because MTV's like, it's MJF, man. This is perfect. And Bobby's like, I don't like you. I don't want nothing to do with this guy. And everybody's like, and MJF's playing it cool, but I don't know if they're gonna let him in or not.
It's a funny curveball because we've been wondering for the longest, are they going to have a fourth member? There are a bunch of people threw around. Anthony Bowens at one point, people wanted. I've seen some people say now that Kevin Knight's over there. Kevin Knight makes a lot of sense with them. Of course, Cedric Alexander, free agent now. Maybe he could end up signing.
Yeah,
and
he even mentioned that he wanted to join back up with
him. So there's some options, but I don't think anybody had MJF on their bingo card.
Nope.
So
if you told me what would MJF be doing in 2025, being part of the Hurt Syndicate would have never came up in my predictions.
No. I do like how MVP is attacking this, though. I do like how MVP is like, hey, the reasons why you are skeptical about this guy are the reasons why I think we need this guy. I do like that. And I also like how MVP's been very open. And he's like, look, I want him, but if you guys don't, he's not in. Like, we are a unit. If you guys don't want him, he's not going to be here. And I do like how MVP is kind of going that way about it. Like, hey,
is maybe MJF the vehicle to get the Hurt Syndicate like a turn, because they're getting over and over more and more, but they're still kind of heels, but they're just, the fans are just clamoring more and more for them.
They're doing
so maybe there's like, you didn't let me in, and MJF attacks Bobby, and then MJF does MJF things.
But that would mean you're going to turn MJF, right?
Is he a face right now? He's never really a face.
He's not a face at the moment. But if you're saying you're going to do this to get heat on Hurt Syndicate, I would assume that means you're going to turn MJF.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Or are you saying that they use MJF to turn the Hurt Syndicate
turn the Hurt Syndicate face, and then MJF's the heel because he keeps getting shunned, and then he does the attack. MJF attacks Bobby, and we get a Bobby MJF match, and then everybody's starting to be behind the Hurt Syndicate as it is. I don't know. It is interesting. I like the little nuance to it. I thought MJF was done with having friends, man. I thought Adam Cole ruined him for friends, but he is.
But see, they've made the point from the very beginning. We're not friends. This is business. I don't trust you, and I understand why those guys don't trust you. But for business reasons, that's why I want you in this group.
Yeah. We have a trios match. Few and far between.
Well, who's winning the tag match?
Oh, Hurt
Syndicate.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
We got to officially put it out there.
I figured we were all on the same page then. I figured
but we got to throw them out there so people can't say that we were.
One of us was.
I was waiting for Phil to be like, Big Bill, man. He's taking this thing.
Big Bill's
home.
just going to stand at the top of the ramp with his finger up, and then Brian Keith is going to do the little shuffle like Enzo and like run around him.
Oh, man.
I would pay so much money to see that.
Bada boom, learning trees in the room. How you doing?
I'd lose it. I would lose it. I would lose my mind. All right,
now that's my pick. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Enzo's at home, just like, what the fuck?
He's like, huh? What?
No, he's in some weird video talking about cancel culture.
Oh god.
Oh yeah.
I haven't even seen it, but I haven't seen it, but I saw the list of the wrestlers that were in it, and I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's talk about this match before the trios match. We have the Ring of Honor World Championship on the line. It is title versus mask. Obviously, Jericho defending the championship against Bandito. They did that angle with Bandito's brother Gravity at the last pay-per-view on the pre-show. He was supposed to fight him for the title, but they just beat the crap out of him, ripped off his mask in front of his mother and sister and Bandito. And he's been saying he wants Bandito's mask ever since. Obviously, Bandito had come back. He got hurt immediately when he came back, but now he's been back for a little bit, and he's done really good stuff since he's been back. I'm hoping that this is Bandito. Like, the fact that the mask is on the line gives me hope that Bandito will win this match and take the title from Jericho, so he can, we can have somebody from like natural Ring of Honor be the Ring of Honor champion and kind of hopefully.
You're funny.
Yeah, I know. You look at I don't even. We do shows on Thursday nights. I don't have Honor Club, but at the same time, I have plenty of people who are still diehard Ring of Honor people. The title should be defended on the Ring of Honor shows.
Yeah, you've got Supercard of Honor coming up. It won't be during WrestleMania weekend, but it is coming up in May. And I would think you would save this match for that show, but you're not, which is confusing. But I do agree with you. I think Bandito has to win here. This Jericho title run has really overstayed its welcome. And a lot of this Jericho stuff, in my opinion, is overstayed its welcome. But I think Bandito's got to win here. And to me, I think the Super Card of Honor match should be a rematch between Bandito and Brian Keith.
You
like
mean,
that.
Brian,
I like that.
Enzo Amore Keith.
Listen, when they first did the duel, segment on that match they had in Collision, that was so cool. And then Jericho had to ruin it the next week on Dynamite and just redo it. But when they first did it, that was dope as hell. I was like, hell yeah. That was a great little moment in that match.
So if we all in agreement, we think Bandito gets it done because the mask is on the line. Jericho said to Keith and Big Bill, I want you to prove yourself that you've learned something from me. And there's a chance that the learning tree is going to come out of this thing bare, no titles, no championships. Do we see maybe a splinter, pun intended, of this learning tree finally? And Big Bill and Keith go do their thing, and Jericho, he's got to reassess. That would be
100%.
okay.
Please do that.
That would be, then I would be like, okay, this makes sense because, if you're not winning and we're not winning, what are we doing together? Let's blow this thing up. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be the perfect catalyst.
So come on, Bandito, baby. Let's go.
To either Big Bill, Brian Keith, or both of them together being like, don't talk to us like that. You lost too. Like, who are you talking to us like that?
Listen,
where's your belt now?
We're the realest guys in the room.
Listen, man, I'm waiting. Get us the big three implosion that we want to see. We're talking Brooklyn level. Get these guys, split them up, man. Get in this.
Hell yeah.
Brooklyn level.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. All right, we have a singles match for the AEW TNT Championship. Poor Daniel Garcia in this title reign. Just, man, whole lot of nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Yeah. He is going against Adam Cole. Match should be good. But I'm of the belief that Adam Cole should win. And he should be the new TNT champion. I'll feel bad about Garcia's reign. It's very private party-ish to me. Here was the story of getting this guy this title, and then we've done nothing with it ever since he's won the title. I feel like they did a very similar thing with Private Party, and I feel bad for it because Garcia deserves better. Mm-hmm. It also feels like to me that they might have just kind of gave him the title to kind of hope he'd re-sign with them because of that as well. I don't feel good about the reign we've seen from Daniel Garcia, but I do expect this match to be very good. But I see Adam Cole leaving as the new TNT champ. And I think Adam Cole is the type of guy that they'll put on TV every week with that title. Like, he's Adam Cole. I feel like they treat him better on the show. But I think that's what's going on is we're going to have ourselves a new TNT champion on Sunday.
Yeah. This TNT title run, I had high hopes for. I immediately got worried when he entered the Continental Classic as champion and did not defend his belt. Mm-hmm. And then he came straight out of it, and he wasn't doing open challenges like other TNT champions have done. And I didn't understand why, because that would suit him very well for his style of wrestling and what he does. Him having that kind of match on Collision, why not? And so at least I think the stuff with Cole has really benefited them both. I think Adam Cole needed something. He came back after a terrible injury, and he looked worse for wear. He, of course, had some struggles in his personal life that he's talked about, and he's looked better and better the more he's been on TV. He looks great again. He looks confident in there. He's having good matches with Garcia, and I think Garcia needed a good dance partner as well, and Adam Cole has given that to him. So I'm glad that they've gotten this series of 3 matches. I'm on the fence of who's going to win it, though. I kind of feel like Garcia needs to win more, because if he doesn't win here, I feel like this title run is a complete bust.
That's fair.
And conversely, though, if Cole doesn't win, you can still do like a trios title match down the line with Undisputed Kingdom. There's still stuff you can do with those guys. I don't think that the loss hurts him. So personally, I think it will be Garcia, but I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not sure. I could see Cole winning this because Cole's needed a big win as well. He's been there long enough. He's been in multiple singles titles matches and hasn't won yet. But I still think Garcia kind of needs to win more.
I agree.
They kind of did Garcia a little dirty. Like Collision has started to become like a better TV show over the last like 6 months or so since he's won that title. You're telling me we can't just find 10 minutes for him to have like some really nice open challenge matches? Because the TNT title used to be huge, and then
it was the TV title. It was
great, and then they got convoluted with the international title and the continental title and all that kind of crazy stuff. I don't know who wins this thing. Like you said, I think you guys both made excellent points. It could go either way. If I had to decide in the moment, like right now, and go, I think it's Adam Cole. But then I don't know what you do with Daniel Garcia and that's unfortunate because he's so damn good.
Yeah.
Does anybody have? Can they both win it? Can they both hold the title? Can we freebird this thing?
Well, this match it has no time limit, and they're doing the no outside interferences permitted
there will
thing
be.
as well. So, which means there definitely will be outside bullcrap happening during this.
Matt Menard is going to kick somebody.
That's usually how it goes. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. But this is one of those matches where it's just like I am picking Cole, but I don't feel good. I don't feel confident or good about it at all. But it's just.
Well, it's like Phil said. Like Daniel needs it more. I'm okay with Daniel Garcia winning if they're going to start putting an emphasis on that title and give him some stuff to do and really kind of like put some real viable challengers in front of him. But if they're just going to keep doing what they're doing, just make the switch and give it to Adam Cole, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not excited. We should be more excited for this match from a storyline perspective. We know the match is going to be good. These two are fantastic, but we should be like, holy shit, it's Adam Cole, it's Daniel Garcia. It's one of the, but we're just like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've enjoyed the feud because, like I said, I think both of these guys have benefited from working together. But I'm just kind of on the fence with who's going to actually win this thing. I've kind of bought into Reg's theory that he's been saying on Grapsity that it feels like Ricochet is going to be the next TNT champion based on what Collision is, and you got a lot of flippy guys over there and what Ricochet could do with the matches over there. It kind of makes sense for him to be the main champion of sorts over there.
I like that. And
but Ricochet is going to be slapping the taste out of people's mouths. He's winning another championship.
Maybe.
He's busy. He's busy.
And before we move on to the next match, I think you nailed it at the beginning, Phil. I think, Daniel Garcia wins the TNT title. He has this great moment, and then he spends the next 6 weeks being in the Continental Classic, not defending the championship and having good matches, but
hanging out with FTR.
Yeah, and it's just like, you just crown this guy. It's a moment that the fans wanted. We wanted Garcia to win. And then he's in this tournament and he's not defending the title for a month and a half. And it's like, I'd rather him not be in the tournament and just defending the title and put somebody else in the tournament. I think they
He's only defended it like 3 times over 6 months.
It was just like, I feel like he should have won the belt like he did, and then he should have just came out firing and just wrestling, defending it, winning it, retaining it.
He had to save AEW first from the Death Riders.
Yes, and then he was that part of it too. Yeah, failed miserably. A whole bunch of stuff. It was a whole bunch of stuff. But speaking of the Death Riders, they are defending the Trios championships, obviously Claudio, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta against Rated FTR. We've seen a little bit of dissension here with FTR and all three of them, and even within FTR as well. Dax has shown a little bit of frustration, not even a little bit, a lot of frustration these last few weeks. He attacked a referee on Collision after the match. He had to pay a fine, which he just gave to the ref last night. He asked Tony if he could give it to him.
Didn't that make you want to be a referee? Just like
you give me a check for 10 grand, bro.
Yeah.
You can smack me around if you want.
Yeah.
Call
me Paul Turner, man.
We had that sit down last week where Dax apologized to Adam Copeland because after the match on Dynamite where Copeland lost again to Moxley, Dax was frustrated and didn't help Copeland up and was angry, so he apologized. Then we have the stuff that happens on Saturday with Paul Turner, and then he accidentally shoves accidentally shoves Cash to the ground, saying he thought it was another official. He's apologizing again to Dax on Wednesday last night. And he says, he's doing the thing. Oh, brothers fight. We're brothers. We love each other. Everything's going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. He goes in for the hug, and Cash is like, no. And Cash, he didn't even look at Dax. He looked at Renee, and he was like, we're going to be fine on Sunday. And then he was like, but after Sunday, we got to talk. And I don't care who you are out there. When somebody tells you we got to talk, it's usually not a good conversation. So we got all this going on. Do we think during this match or maybe after the match or whatever, do we see FTR turning on Copeland? Do we see Copeland turning on? Do we see this blowing up during the match, or do we think this is something that maybe happens after a clean loss? Not clean with the death ride, but after a loss? Or do we see it happening during the match, right after the match? Like, where do we see that? Because it clearly seems like a breakup is happening and a turn of some sort is happening with Rated FTR.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some kind of miscommunication in this match that causes the loss, and that's going to exasperate frustrations with Dax. That is going to cause the turn or whatever after this. I do think the FTR is turning heel. Dax has been doing several things that lead me to that conclusion. Even when he was doing his apology to Cope, it felt so insincere.
Yeah, literally.
And even he did it again this week when he did the apology to Cash, and he even used his real name on TV, and you could see how that would annoy
We're brothers.
fans.
We've been together for 11 years.
It felt very disingenuous. Even him handing the check to the referee, it made me like, oh, this guy. Like, it made you. It's one of those things where he's trying to tell you on every turn, like, look, I'm a good guy. I'm sincere. And he's hamming it up too much. And I think that is intentional because he's going to turn heel. I loved the little touches they did here, like Dax coming out and being upset when he helped Christian after the street fight. And Cash was the only one that was wearing the Rated FTR shirt that time. And this time, Cash wasn't wearing it. And Dax, because he's trying to mend fixes, he comes with the Rated FTR jacket and all of the merch, and Cash is not feeling it this time. I do think the long-term thing here is FTR turning heel, and this has got to be leading us to Cope and Christian versus FTR.
I think that's the all-in match. I think that's the all-in match potentially Copeland and Christian reuniting and going against FTR. I think that's a money match.
If that happens, I need Copeland to apologize immensely for hitting Christian in the balls with that spike bat.
That's fair.
Because I don't know if I could, brothers or not, I don't know if I could ever get past that. Like, dude, you hit me right in the...
Yeah.
Up until Wednesday night, I was I thought maybe Edge, Cope, and Cash were going to turn on Dax or like kick him out or something. Because I thought that, but after Wednesday, I could see where like that would be silly. FTR splitting up, and maybe Cash, something happens between Cope and then Cash is just in the middle, and he's just like torn. But he's like, "That's my brother Dax. I gotta go. That's my guy." And then we get because that is a money match. You could do that at All In. That'd be insane.
Yeah, and I have heard people, Jeremy Lambert, our pal, being one of them, that and Brandon in our chat, they think that Cope could turn and be the one that turns on FTR. I feel like it will be FTR that does it. That makes more sense to me. But there are people out there that could see it happening the other way, where Cope is the guy that ends up being the one that kind of breaks the union here.
Do they win the trios championships though?
No. I think Death Riders are going to win here. The reason I don't see Cope turning is because this guy is beloved right now. People love singing his theme song. The fans are not going to boo this guy. And you're already teeing up this thing with Nick and Christian, where it seems like there's dissension there as well. I don't see Cope turning heel. And it just makes too much sense for FTR to turn heel. There's too much you can do with FTR's heels. You got the Outrunners match you can do whenever the Young Bucks of Reseda show up. We'll get that match.
They've been teasing it. They've been teasing it on the socials about coming back. So maybe sooner than later.
Yeah. Get them tassels back on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
enough of these vest suits and what have you. Like, this was a fun run with like the piano music, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to get Super Kick Party teed up, bro. Enough.
They're coming back and getting cheered, so they might as well, right? Yeah, we don't need them as the EVP figures right now.
No, we don't need that. We don't need that at all. Well, we have a 3-way match for the AEW International Championship. This one should be a doozy. It is Kenny Omega defending against Ricochet and one of the newest members to the AEW roster, Speedball.
And Grapsity guest. Shout out to you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah. Speedball, Mike Bailey, friend of us here at LPW, Love Wrestling. Great individual. Excited to see him kind of thrusted into this immediately. I think Kenny is going to win, but I think this is going to be a showcase for Speedball. I think Speedball is going to look like, he's going to be the standout in this match. I feel like they're going to make it that way, that he really shines in this match. I would love Ricochet to steal it, to be honest with you, because I'm digging the Ricochet character, but they're clearly on a collision course for Kenny and Okada, I think, to unify those titles at All In, most likely. So I'm going to pick Kenny to retain. But this is one of those matches where either one of these guys can win, and I'm happy with it. I'm perfectly happy with it. But to pick, I will pick Kenny to retain.
Yes. I don't see Kenny losing until All In. So I don't see him losing here. I'm with you. I would love to see Ricochet win this match, but I just don't see it. Also, when you think like international championship and who has kind of been like the face of international wrestling for a bunch of years on the indie scene before he was allowed to come back to the States, that was Speedball. And so Speedball could do a lot of great things with that belt, but I just don't see either of those guys winning. I think this is Kenny's match to win.
I'm also intrigued so Ricochet has been rocking Philadelphia Eagles gear. Is he going to get cheered at Dynasty coming out in some Eagles gear? Because it's Philly. They love their fans. Are we going to see not a face, but you know how MJF gets cheered when he's at home in Long Island? We're going to see Ricochet get some cheers, man. But yeah, I think you guys are right. I think it's Kenny. I think this match is going to be awesome. I think the three of them could do some really fun stuff. It sucks for Ricochet because he's doing the best work he is, and I think he needs a title to kind of elevate this just a little bit more, but I just don't think this is the one. And then Speedball, he's brand new. He's got plenty of opportunities down the line, but he's going to show up. So, pretty chalk, guys. We're not really disagreeing here. This is
I beg of you, Tony Khan, and whoever runs these things, steal my idea, by the way, of Ricochet coming out in Philadelphia with Gilly the Kid, with the big Philadelphia Eagles hat on, doing the whole dance to blow the whistle and everything during his entrance. It just makes too much sense. It's too much. It's too funny. Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, they should lean into it. They should 100%. He's been wearing the Eagles gear the whole time. So I think there is a good way to lean into that with Ricochet. And then, obviously, we talked about Moxley and Swerve to start our little Dynasty chat here. So the only match we have not talked about is an intriguing one for me. It is a singles match for the AEW Women's World Championship. It is timeless Toni Storm, who continues to just be the best, really. And she is defending against a woman who has dominated since she stepped foot in AEW. She's dominated the champion as well, Megan Bayne. I have been saying it for a few weeks now. I really want them to do it. I really want them to do it, and I want them to put Megan Bayne over and win this title. She doesn't have to keep it long, but I do feel like the way she's been presented and the way she's kind of dominated even Tony, I think, you have an opportunity to really cement someone as a new giant star in the company. And I would be all for Megan Bayne upsetting Tony here and winning the belt. I think that would be, that would be the route that I would want to happen. I'm gonna pick Megan Bayne, but I'm torn on it because it's timeless Toni Storm and she's wonderful and she just won the belt back. So obviously her winning would make a ton of sense too because she just won it back. But very rarely I think does AEW. They've done a really good job with Megan Bayne here, like a really, really good job since she's shown up, and she's looked like a monster and just a badass. And they don't do it often, but I feel like I said, you got an opportunity here to really cement her and really make her. And I would love them to do it. I'm not going to bet my house on it, but that's kind of where I'm leaning when it comes to this. I don't know. How are you feeling, Pluggo, about it?
I feel about the same. I'm always a proponent of like pulling the trigger on some new talent, and this would be the one to do it. I think it would make the most sense. You've got the most bulletproof over person on your roster. She took a loss here. She slipped up. You could run it back. Again, like you said, I think you don't bet your house on it. But yeah, oh man, I don't want to pick, but if I had to, I want Megan Bayne to win, but I think they're going to give it. They're going to keep it on Toni Storm. They'll figure out a way. What are you thinking, Phil? How are you feeling?
I just don't see Toni losing. She's too popular right now. She's too hot, and if I think that my pick is right, that Mercedes is winning the Owen, you've got to tee up a big match for her at All In. And I don't think that's Megan Bayne. That's not a knock to Megan Bayne. I think she could have a great match with Megan Bayne, but this is All In. This is possibly your biggest show of the year. It's been billed as your biggest show of the year for the past few years, and this is Mercedes potentially entering the world title picture. You've got to put her in there with the woman that's been the face of this division for the past year or so. It just makes too much sense. Like, sure. I mean, Toni as a baby face and the biggest heel now that you could put her in there with at All In is Mercedes. There's nobody else. There is no other heel. No, I think Toni's winning.
That promo work between Mercedes and Toni leading up to that match, though, would be some good stuff.
Yes.
You're not wrong. I think JPJ, they've done such a fantastic job with Megan that it's been like, oh my God, you've got this. Like, how do you not pull the trigger on it? Because we've seen it in the past where they like heat up somebody for a couple of weeks and then they challenge for the champ, then they lose, and
we don't
but
see them.
She's been in the main event too. That's not that's not a mistake.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right though. I don't think that she loses it, but man, that would be the one.
It's one of those
things. Gonna do it.
And like the window's obviously shorter, but like. And I'm not saying this to compare, like I think they're going to have trajectories of their careers, but I get like 2002 Brock Lesnar vibes with Megan Bayne. How Brock showed up, he looked different than everybody else. They positioned him as a monster. He was destroying everybody, and he won the title in 8 months or something like that. Now this is obviously quicker than that. She's only really been here for like a couple months, so it's a quicker thing. But like I do get that vibe a little bit of the way they're presenting her. Like in a similar way, like who is this new beast of a woman here that's just ruining everybody? It
kind of feels like the start of Statlander's run with AEW, where she was getting all of the wins, and it felt like she was on a trajectory to win a championship, and then unfortunately she got injured. And I feel like if she didn't get injured, she was going to win the belt. So I can see it, and I don't think it would be a bad idea to put the belt on Megan Bayne. I just wonder, with the next two pay-per-views the way they are, Double or Nothing and All In, do I really buy Megan Bayne heading into those two shows as champion?
That's fair.
I don't know that I believe that, especially because, like I said, my prediction is Mercedes winning the Owen.
Yeah,
I think the story there of Mercedes versus Toni is a better story. I think that's a bigger match.
Yeah, that's why we bring you on here, because you make sense, Phil. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's hard for us to make that every so often,
I'd like to argue with you on that, but I can't do it because it's true. She's gonna. So that's the thing too. So with your prediction, though, Phil, I will say the caveat is that Mercedes is going to keep the TBS championship throughout that too, and you're going to have a champion versus champion situation.
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that question because I kind of feel like she's outgrown the TBS title.
I agree with that.
I would agree.
And I figure you've got to do something here. And I don't know how you get around that. I very much hope that they don't do a vacating the belt thing. Don't do that. Have someone beat her for the belt.
Well, I was gonna say, could Athena
Don't do
beat
that
her
like
at
they
Double or
did
Nothing
that
for
with
it?
Stephanie.
Like, let's say, because
No,
we were talking earlier, and you said that you could see like maybe the Renegade Twins getting involved and helping her win that second round against Athena. Could that lead to Athena versus Mercedes 1-on-1 for the TBS title at Double or Nothing, and Athena beats her? And that's how you get the belt off Mercedes, and then the next month,
Maybe,
well,
but
no, because that's the
aren't the
final of the
finals
Owen.
at
Yeah,
the
that's
Double or
right. So that
Nothing?
wouldn't make sense. Never mind then.
Yeah.
Damn it. I'm trying to think of a way to get the belt off.
Well, how
her,
much
but
time
yeah.
is between Double or Nothing and All In? Because Double
or Nothing is Memorial Day weekend usually,
Yes.
right? So that's the end of May, and then you have the
Mhm.
beginning of July. So about a month or 6.
Yeah, like
5
5
weeks.
Yeah. Huh.
If you're gonna do the Mercedes dropping the belt to somebody, I think you'd want to do it sooner than closer to All In, so that you could, unless you want to do a storyline where she's like losing these belts and she's drastically trying to hold on to it. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure how we get there. I don't want them to relinquish it because she's been their best TBS champ. Not maybe best, I don't know, but she's been the most historic TBS champion. She's held it forever and blah blah blah. So don't drop it, because that didn't leave a good taste in my mouth on Tuesday.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah,
No.
because on Tuesday that was
Because
lame
why
stuff.
do it if you're just gonna do that? Which
No,
can I really quick?
Yeah,
Can
no,
I just,
yeah, go
as
ahead,
I've been
yeah.
thinking about this for
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
days,
Yeah.
I understand for the internet world. I understand why they did that, because the work rate needed to hold both those belts, especially as like a stand and deliver in the NXT pay-per-views, is a very high rate, and that's very risky with a talent as Stephanie McCure. But why do it if you're just going to have her do it once and go, oh, I'm taking it off of her? It was a little disappointing. You could have made somebody, because you have that deep women's roster. You could have made something. You could have figured out a way to do it cleverly. But I digress.
Yeah,
anyway, I'll let you guys speak on it.
It's my same worry with the Mercedes thing, though, is that it seemed very clear they didn't want Stephanie to take a loss yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I could very much see them doing the same thing with Mercedes, where they're not ready for her to take a loss leading up to All In. I don't know. But when I look at that field, I just can't conceivably see anybody else winning the Owen. Like, I think Statlander would be a great option. I think that even Hayter would be a great option. But I just don't believe it.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. I see, and I think both Owen tournaments are very, very strong with the caliber of talent.
Who's
in
the
them.
wild card?
I was just going to say, who do you think the wild card is that will go against Hangman in round 1?
Jeff Jarrett?
I think that's something they could do to kind of
that's
do the
what I
callback
mean-
from last year.
That's what I immediately thought. There's going to be
Yeah.
Jarrett. It's going to
Yeah.
mirror last year, and Jarrett's going to come in instead in Hangman's spot as the mystery man, and he's going to lose.
Because remember, Jarrett was like, I'm signed in 2025, and I'm going after... And then
Going after world title.
Which I'm okay with, because I'm not a Jeff Jarrett guy, but he did sell me a ticket for at least the win in the Owen.
Yeah.
He could
And
return
and the
favor this
Owen
year.
is obviously important to him too. Like some
Would that
so.
be underwhelming? Is there anybody available right now that would be like, oh shit, that was awesome?
I don't think it's underwhelming if they execute this the way that I assume they're going to, because of course last year Jarrett entered as the Hangman entered as the wild card and then beat Jarrett down, and then he kept going with the heel turn. I think he's going to beat him fair and square here, and I think he's going to admit his mistake, and he's going to shake his hand after the match, and that's going to continue his redemption arc from the start of this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the two people that popped out to me when I saw the wild card. Where Jarrett was the top one, because you have a built-in story there with last year. It's easy to tell. It's just an easy thing to tell. And then the other one, and again further back, I was like, maybe MJF, because MJF said he wasn't done with Hangman, and obviously he's doing other stuff with the Hurt Syndicate. But I could see that. But then one of those dudes needs to lose again, and it's just kind of But I think Jarrett makes all the sense in the world.
Do you guys put the same stock on a tournament loss to us? Like you say, MJF and Hangman, one of them has to lose again. But I always like tournament wrestling. I kind of, at least for me, I kind of throw that out. I go, it's tournament style. Like, yes, it's a loss, but I don't get too worked up about it, because it's a tournament. Anything can happen, dude. It's March Madness.
Yeah. That's fair.
style. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm a group guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I personally, if they do the right thing here, and boy, do I pray they do the right thing and put this belt on Swerve. The match that Swerve never got as champion that I wanted him to get, and these guys have passed each other multiple times. They've thrown jabs at each other. It's MJF, and so I don't think that MJF should lose before this, so that this could build to him being the opponent for one of these pay-per-views coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
On the side with Hangman Page in the wild card, it's Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
Could be Kyle Fletcher. That would be a smart
Fletcher
one.
versus Hangman would be.
Yeah, Fletcher versus Hangman on that side, and the other side you'd have Ospreay and most likely Takeshita, because they give my boy Brody King finally a win, and just so they can prop him up. And again, Takeshita is all world. I love Takeshita.
Are they going to run Fletcher Ospreay again?
No, I think Hangman. It's Hangman Ospreay in the final. I would think that would probably be
That's my guess.
Yeah, would be Hangman and Ospreay. That's a huge match at Double or Nothing.
Oh, for sure.
They haven't done that match yet either. So.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a match we haven't seen yet. To me, that is the finals. That would be the.
And that would make sense to have Ospreay beat Hangman because they haven't done it yet. And Hangman's one of the stables. You beat him, and now you can say like, "Look, I've pretty much done it all here. Give me that title match." So.
Yeah,
but also you could also tell the story of Ospreay coming out of that match at the pay-per-view, very dangerous match. He hasn't taken any time off. He's been hurting and going into a tournament, ailing. He could lose this thing.
Yeah.
And especially if they do, as Phil says, do the right thing on Sunday and they give the title to Swerve, that's, to me, if Moxley comes out of the Dynasty as the champ, Ospreay's winning the Owen. If Swerve comes out as the champ, Hangman's winning the Owen. That's how I look at it. So if Swerve is the champion, which I think, at least from a sentimental point, we all want to happen, I do think it's Hangman's tournament to win, and I would think Hangman would beat Ospreay in the final, and that's a perfect way to do it. How Ospreay has just been getting through it, banged up, and and then at the end he just runs out of like his body can't do it anymore right at the end, and Hangman just gets however they do it. I think that's the way we go here on that side.
It might be recency bias, but I think that these two tournament brackets are two of the better ones that they've had since they've started the Owen tournament. Like there's so much good stuff going on there.
I agree.
We could have a final four of like Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter, or Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter versus and then you got Athena and Mercedes potentially. Yeah. Like that's just bonkers on the women's side. Dude. So good on them, man. And I think they're cooking heading into Dynasty. I really do, and I think this Owen is going to heat up and it's going to drive us into Double or Nothing. I think it's going to be a good summer for AEW, man.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, the last, 3+ months or so, they've really found their footing again. And like the shows are, like you said, Collision to me, all of last year or towards the end, like all of last year until the end of the year, Collision was a missable show. You could just not watch Collision and you wouldn't miss a damn thing. And now I feel like Collision, I thought Collision was the better of the two shows last week. Personally, I think Collision is become a,
we're getting Mercedes.
You have to watch it
versus Athena with Harley Cameron
and Julia Hart. Yeah, but
we're getting that. You want to see what's going to happen with those two, so you're gonna tune in. So it's a smart move. Instead of putting that on Dynamite, you put it on Saturday, and now I have to figure out how I'm going to watch that.
Absolutely.
Listen, honey, I'm busy.
Yeah,
right.
And we you talk about how strong the men's feud, and again, this is not a knock at Kevin Knight at all, but Jay White was also supposed to be in this in this tournament. That's a different so like when you think about him having to be removed, unfortunately it sounds like, and these are just reports, but a couple major injuries for AEW here with Jay White potentially out and needing surgery, and then the rumor is that Orange Cassidy might have torn his pec as well. That's just back-to-back, just major injuries of two very important guys that are up near the top of the card.
I think there was a third one, right?
Well, was there another one too?
Yeah, I believe.
I saw those two.
Yeah, I believe. Unfortunately, there was a third one. I believe. I saw it pop up on my.
I did not see it. I did not see the third one, so I'm not going to even expect it.
I got.
Mark Davis, maybe.
Yes, I think it's Mark Davis as well, which is unfortunate because he just came back
Yeah,
too
and
long ago.
I feel like they've been making him look really good here too. These last couple matches he's been in that. He shined the most to me in that 4-way. He shined the most. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, man. So that just the injury bug just catching them at the wrong time. But again, they have a loaded deep roster that we're still staring at what should be another great pay-per-view on Sunday for AEW, and they really don't miss when it comes to their pay-per-views. They're consistently good regardless, and I think this has been a good build to Dynasty. Yes. But even when the builds haven't been that great, they still hit. They still hit on these pay-per-views. So it should be another really, really good show on Sunday. Yeah. So, Phil, we want to thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure when you can make time for us here. Talking some Dynasty.
Sorry about the mishap at the beginning.
Oh, it's fine. It's totally okay.
Yeah, he was on before. You know, we were here though. Yeah. But obviously you do a lot of things. You do a lot of great things. So let the people know where they can find you, where they can follow you, what you do every week and all that stuff before we get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter. I'm not usually on there that much, but the account still exists. I still pop on there sometimes and then duck right back out because reasons.
It's wild.
I was just going to say because Twitter.
Yeah, it's the wild, wild west over there. You're constantly on defense. Everything feels like an attack. You got to get your spots in and run up out of there. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter at PhilDO616. You can also find me where I post the most on Blue Sky. At Phil Lindsey BSKY.social. I think I said that correctly. I'm still getting used to that whole long handle.
Yeah, I still don't know how to
You can change it, I guess, to be like a more personalized thing.
Yeah, you got to have.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you got to have a actual domain name.
Oh, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky and Twitter. You can also find me on Grapsity every Saturday at noon. Fightful's YouTube channel with my co-host Righteous Reg. We will not be there Saturday at noon this week. Unfortunately, Reg is on vacation, so we will be back on Monday, the day after Dynamite, giving our thoughts on the pay-per-view and other things from this week. And we've got an interview up with Speedball Mike Bailey on the YouTube channel, Fightful's YouTube channel as well.
Love it.
Definitely check all that stuff out.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the best.
Yeah. If I had to ask, I know we talked about basketball right at the jump. What is your prediction for the finals matchup right now as we stand? What are we, 6 games from the end of the 6, 7? We're at the end. We're in it, right?
Close to 2 weeks. A little bit under
2 weeks, right? Yeah, a couple of weeks before we get the playoffs going. What would be right now where you stand? What do you think we're looking at for the finals, like matchup and things like that?
Barring injury, I don't know that anybody's beating the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. It's gonna be tough to get past those guys, man. If they're healthy, I do think they're gonna make it to the Eastern Conference Finals
against Boston.
Yeah, because I just don't believe New York. I think they've got the talent. Brunson coming off an injury, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know. It sure seems like it's Cavs Boston, and I think the Cavs are probably the team to beat at this point. Obviously, because number 1 seed, second best record in the league right now. In the West right now, I think it's between OKC and maybe Denver.
Yeah, those are the two that I think.
Maybe Denver, but the same thing. OKC, you don't just stumble into 63 wins, man.
Yeah.
And prime example, I just gloated about how my Bulls beat up on the Lakers when they saw OKC beat these guys by 30 points because they're the real deal, man. SGA is the real deal. They've got a great team over there, great coaching. They play great defense.
I was going to say great defense. Defense.
Well, they have I saw a stat, they have like a net rating of like plus 1,000, which has only been done 3 other times in NBA history.
Yeah.
Like it's not. I will say this for basketball aficionados, Cleveland versus OKC in the finals would be awesome. For the NBA, they might go, God damn it.
Yeah, but I don't know how you avoid it at this point because Cleveland's going to be very hard to beat.
Oh, it's gonna be a good.
Maybe Boston, but man, Cleveland's tough, bro.
We've played them well this. I say we because I'm from Boston, so pardon me. If you're
I
one of
didn't know
those people,
you suited up.
listen. All right, if you're one of those people that's just how I say it. All right, my sports teams are we. I'm part of them. All right, it is what it is. We've played Cleveland very well this year. They beat us once. They had a big comeback in Boston. They had a big comeback and beat us. But we've beaten them, I think, 2 out of the 3 times we've played them. I think it is going to be Boston and Cleveland in the East. And I do think, I don't know. We lost last night to the Heat because we shot 1,000 threes and missed 990 of them. But it is what it is. But like, we've won 9 in a row before that. We're kind of playing hot right now. Like, we're playing the way you want to play heading towards the end of the year. I still think we are the most talented team in the East. Like, if everybody's healthy, which is really the real question, if everyone's healthy, because we haven't been healthy all year. But if the Celtics get healthy and they are really healthy, I just think it's hard to find 7 guys better than the Celtics' top 7 guys. OKC can, and that's why I think would be.
I'm just happy my Rockets made the playoffs. Man.
Your Rockets are good, man. Well, they got a good coach.
They got a good coach. They got the draft pick that I wanted a few years ago, and Jalen Green. That guy's a hooper.
He's fantastic.
Thompson's coming around, and
Dylan Brooke is ended up being a net positive for you guys, even though he got drummed out of Memphis unfairly. I feel like
I agree.
And I still can't stand that guy, but I'm happy he's on my team.
I think he's one of those guys where he's very irritating if you're playing against him.
Yeah.
But on defense for you, you need a guy like that. You need a guy like that that's going to want to take on big assignments and guard big stars. And he's confident enough to come out there and do some jawing like this.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you want. And so, I want to say Denver. I'm not sure, but I think Thunder right now. I think Thunder are probably going to make it out of the West. Because I mean, that's a tough conference. But
I was going to say the East is so weak, and the West is loaded, man.
It's okay to not like go on some major limb because like it's clear these teams have been the best teams all year, hands down. It would it takes something crazy, some collapse. Like you would need like the Lakers obviously would have to get super hot and just. No, I just don't know if that
it won't happen. It won't happen. But as a Celtics fan, the one team that would scare the shit out of me would be if Golden State made a run with Butler.
That's what I was getting ready to say. The team that I think that people should worry about, not the Lakers, is playoff Jimmy Butler.
With playoff Steph.
with the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And I believe they're still like 15-2 since All-Star break with Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
They could be a very scary team in the playoffs.
They're a team full of dudes who know how to win. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know Steph's got like the back issues, but I don't know. If he's healthy, we'll see.
Yeah. That would concern me because Jimmy Butler, in the early few years of Tatum and Brown, as they were kind of figuring out how to actually win, Butler owned them mentally, physically, in every way. Jimmy Butler and that Heat team owned them, and they should have won the finals against Golden State. But Draymond Green and Steph, with their veteran, they owned them too mentally.
Steph
it's just
Steph
nasty.
in that series was unbelievable,
incredible,
bro.
And some of the best basketball I've ever seen in an individual play. Yeah, some of the best basketball I've ever seen in individual play was Steph Curry in that finals. It was incredible how he just went in the time machine and just was like, "Yep, I'm still this guy." It was just, So if they were to make a run with Butler added into that, even though I think the Celtics are a better team, if that ended up being the finals, I would be worried about the mental psyche of the Celtics because I would be like, those guys are in your head. When we still play Golden State, we lose more than we win because they're in our head. So, like, you add Butler to that, shit. You know what I mean? It makes me like, oh, God. But
speaking of which, the Golden State Warriors play the Lakers at 10 o'clock.
Is that tonight?
Should be a good game.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't know. I don't buy the Lakers. That's not necessarily just because not a fan of that team or their star player. I've been saying from the beginning when people were hyping them up, their defense is always going to be the issue.
That's bad.
And we've seen that in both of the games against the Bulls. You give up 150 points to the Bulls. They're a playing team. They're a sub 500 team. You're not supposed to be giving up that many points to them.
Yeah, they're the 10 seed. The Bulls are the 10 seed right now. I'm looking at the standings. If the playoffs started today, the Lakers would get Memphis though in the first round.
They can beat Memphis. I don't think they're worried about Memphis.
It'd be Denver, Golden State would be your first round matchup. Oof, that's.
But see, I kind of think Denver's going to move up. I think Denver's going to move up into the third spot.
Yeah, I would think so.
They are. Yeah, they're like pretty much dead even with the Lakers right now.
Lakers' schedule is tougher than Denver for the next few games.
Yeah,
that's why I think Lakers are gonna land in either that 4th or 5th spot.
Yeah. Obviously it's been a little bit since it happened, but how did you feel about the Luka trade when it went down? I'm so sick and tired of the Lakers.
We were at the Rumble. We left the Rumble. We were at a hotel waiting for an Uber. And I looked at JPJ and I said, Luka Doncic is a Laker. And he goes, he like literally was like, you're joking, right? And I was like, no, look, it's real. This is ESPN's website. This isn't some Twitter feed.
As a Celtics fan, I lost my fucking mind. I was like, again with these guys. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal. They've traded.
Pau Gasol.
What the fuck? Why do people just give them fucking people in their lap? Are you fucking kidding me? Anyway.
But yeah, I was on a post show for Royal Rumble at the time, and people were in our chat like, "Hey Phil, did you see this trade?" And I was like, "What trade?" And so I'm looking at my phone, and then I kept looking at the screen. I was like, "Wait a minute, this is real?" And like I'm like trying to wait for Sham and other people to confirm it, and then when it got confirmed, I was like, "What?" And the story of it is still so bizarre to me. This whole their owner was worried about Luka's health and worried about him staying in shape. This guy just led you to an NBA Finals last year. This guy
literally.
I believe he was 3rd in MVP voting last year. You can make an argument he's one of the top 5 players in the league right now. What do you mean? You're worried about him staying in shape? What are we talking about? And so even the stuff with Davis and, Davis just so happened to not fly with the team, and then all of a sudden he got shipped out, and some of the stuff being said, and then immediately people were going around like, well, LeBron didn't know about this trade. And I'm like, yeah, all right. The more you tell me he didn't know about it, the more I believe he did. Because there's no way in the world that you go get the coach he wants, you go draft his son, and then you trade the player that he wanted you to get.
He's like best friends with, too. They're like really good friends,
the second best player on the team. You think you're going to trade the second best player on this team and not let LeBron James know? No, I don't buy that at all. I think that there were some mechanizations behind this that are probably going to end up coming out later in years, but I don't buy any of this idea that Dallas didn't buy him as a future of their team. No, I don't buy it at all. You just picked up Klay Thompson. You thought you could make a run and go back to the finals with this team. Yep. You get to All-Star break and you're already crapping out on it? I don't buy that.
And like Luka was banged up as well. He wasn't even playing full. Like it's like,
what if you're crapping out on it, you don't trade Luka first.
No,
Kyrie goes.
You trade everybody else to get Luka people next to him. That's what you do.
You trade Luka, and then you trade Luka to the Lakers. You trade Luka, and you didn't offer him to anybody else. You only made the offer to them, and then it came out that
Houston would have gave you everything we got.
A lot of teams would have.
Yeah, we would have been like, here's
a lot of teams
first round picks.
Wild trade, but we've seen this before with him. He gets the All-Star break, and all of a sudden he got to make some moves because we're losing. And I saw, the Nick Wrights of the world and certain people going, well, see, you guys were wrong. And I'm just like, no, you don't trade to get somebody else's best player if you're a good team. You trade like that if you know this isn't going to work. They knew they were not going to win with Davis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And now they have an outside shot to win without Davis, but if they don't, they go, We got the guy for the next 10 years.
And that's what it's really about, which is that's the part of it that annoys me the most is like, LeBron is a freak of nature as much as I don't like, as I'm anti-LeBron. He's 40 years old and he's playing at still a ridiculously high level for a guy that is, but he, as all athletes do, now they have the guy that is going to be the guy when LeBron ain't there in 3, 4, however long LeBron plays. Now they have their next top 5 guy in the league for the next decade after. And it's like, how do they always can do this?
Well, I mean, this is he's got an option year next year, correct?
I think he does. Yeah.
He always does 2-year deals with that second year being an option.
Yeah. So technically, this is his last year. I don't buy that he's not going to pick up the option. He's not going to leave that money on the table next year. But technically, this is his last year with the Lakers. He's got one more year to get this done. That window to win one more championship is closing. I don't buy that they didn't make this trade for those reasons. They did everything else because the window is closing. We go and get your son so you can get this moment to play with your son. We go get the coach you like, all these other things. And you want me to believe you're not going to go and make this trade for a guy that, by the way, Luka and LeBron have been saying for years that they want to play together. It was their dream to play together. All of that is a coincidence, though, right? I just don't buy that.
Just so happened at the 0 hour, and nobody was made aware.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
Nico and what's that? Palinka. That was it. Yeah. The only 2 that knew.
And supposedly, Nico and Palinka are good friends.
Yeah, that's. I think I read somewhere that Nico came up on like Palinka, like they came up like worked together, and then they stayed friends after that. So yeah.
We'll see. I don't think the Lakers they get past the first round, but I don't see them going deeper than once they got to run into a Golden State, a Denver, an OKC. Whenever they're not gonna.
I don't think they can beat OKC in a 7-game series.
I agree.
I don't think that they. No, just kidding. Yeah, I don't think they play good enough defense, and I just don't think that.
And Austin Reeves is playing out of his mind right now. I don't know if he can sustain that.
Maybe
he might just be a good player though. Like
he might be, but I mean, if I was a betting man, in the playoffs getting locked down.
But I mean, for what his position is, you've got him as a shooting guard between 2 guys that are going to get all the gravity on them. So he's going to be open more often than not. So a lot of this is just him consistently hitting the shots when he's open or getting to the basket when they need him to. Yeah. And when you've got 2 stars like that around him, it's not that difficult. And not to throw any shade at the guy, because I do think he's a good basketball player. Yeah. I'm just saying that to say that I think he's good enough to fit that role as a shooting guard on his team.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, that was some good ball talk.
We went into overtime there.
Yeah, listen. We don't talk basketball that often. So
double OT like that Minnesota Denver game the other night.
Yeah, that was
poor Russ.
I know.
Poor Russ.
Oh my God.
Talk about real quick. We don't have to spend too much time. Talk about how the mighty have fallen with Russell Westbrook, where they were just like, "You can have the entire 3-point line. We're not even going to bother guarding you." Two-time MVP.
How do you think Russ has looked back on? This will be the last thing we talk about before we.
An anomaly. They were like, "What happened?"
When he retires in a few 10, 15 years from now, because he's had an all-time statistical career ever.
Yes.
How do you think he's looked back on? Like, what does his legacy look like? 10 years after he's retired, and we look back on Russell Westbrook. Like, how is he viewed?
I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that it's tough because the Lakers run tarnished him quite a bit, and somewhat unfairly, because I think he's played much better since he's left the Lakers. I thought he played pretty good with the Clippers. I think he's played good with Denver, but he's just so erratic. He's so inconsistent, and I think that's going to be the thing that stops you from putting him in a conversation with other all-time great point guards. But just statistically, like, he's one of the most scoringest point guards. He's broken a record for triple doubles. He's a former MVP. There's no way he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. I had this argument with somebody the other day. That's why this is fresh in my mind. But no, he's absolutely going to be an MVP.
100%. Yeah, because first guy to average a triple double since Oscar. Like he's that guy.
And he did.
He's statistically, yeah, man, he is that. He has the numbers.
Yeah, he's going to be all
definitely going to get it. Yeah.
This argument started, by the way, because my friend was like, I don't see a world where you put somebody like that. I'm like, bro, Tracy McGrady is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo Anthony is a Hall of Famer. He's achieved more individually than both of those guys.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Carmelo said he wants to own a team, right? Didn't he recently just say? I felt like he did an interview in the last couple of days where Carmelo said he wants to help. He wants to buy a team. I think it might have been the. Oh my God! Was it
a lot of money these days?
The Wizards? I think it might have been the Wizards or something. But he was on an interview and he said that. And he like advocated for himself, like he went into like why
advocated
he
for himself.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, look, I think his post basketball career has been great. I think the podcast he does with Mero is funny. I think he's.
It might have been on that podcast that he said it.
I think he's very entertaining. What a collection of sunglasses this guy has. Every time, just impeccable sunglasses. And he matches them up with these wild hats that he puts on. What a guy. And by the way, my parting thing, I absolutely think he's right to be upset about his son not making the All-American team. He's the number one kid in New York. I don't see how you can say he's the number one player in New York and not put him on the All-American team. I think that's right.
I would agree. It was the Wizards. Yeah. He said he wants to own or be part of the ownership group of the Washington Wizards. Carmelo said that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then they were like, really? You think you'd be a good owner? And then he was kind of like, yeah, former player. And he kind of went through like, I'm a former player. I've done this. I played a long time. I've been
famous last words.
Yep.
No,
yep.
So did MJ in his ownership tenure.
100%. But yeah, so he
did
that.
So
I thought that was. But on that note, PLUGGO, why don't you plug the show, plug your stuff, and then real quick, and we can get out of here. Yeah.
All right. Well, at this time next week, we will know who won the March Madness bracket pool because the Final Four is this weekend. So stay tuned to that. Hopefully I win it, but whoever finishes second will receive the prize because we're gentlemen like that. We will be on the Kicking Out podcast tomorrow night, talking Dynasty, taking predictions. We're going to bring that championship home. If you want to know what we got going on the show page, go to @B2Beards on all social media platforms to find out what we're going on. I'm PLUGGO. You can find all my stuff at PLUGGO, and all my writings are on Love Wrestling CA. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. with Blair Pacheco for 4 Exposure Pod. We'll be talking about the world of independent wrestling.
Love it. You can follow me, JPJ Loves Gaming, everywhere, including Twitch. We play some video games over there a handful of times a week. Thursday nights here, obviously, between Two Beards, the flagship here at Love Wrestling with PLUGGO. Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, 10 a.m., me and Drew Nicholas doing Firmly Love Wrestling. We talk WWE on Tuesdays. We talk AEW on Thursdays. And then Monday night, Raw getting back to normal time coming Monday. But Monday nights after Raw, I hop on with Nick and Corey over on bodyslam.net for the Raw Dogs post-show over there. So that's where you can find me. Phil, thank you again for joining us. Appreciate you heading into a little bit of overtime with us to talk some hoops. Yes. Appreciate you. Obviously, you're welcome anytime. Go follow Phil. If you're not already listening to Grapsity, you got to.
What are you doing?
It's on my short list of must listen to, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. It is on my short list of weekly listens to. Even if I can't get in the chat live, I make sure that I schedule the time to listen to it. One of the best podcasts in general, but definitely one of the best wrestling podcasts you will find around. So thank you for the time, Phil. We appreciate you making the time and joining us here again. And for everybody in the chat, thank you all. We'll see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Until then, you guys know the drill. Say hi to Sue. We're going to get out of here. Peace out.
Bye, Sue.
See ya.
Hey there, PLUGGO and JPJ. It's Trent's mom, Sue. And I have a bone to pick with you. So, I understand that you guys are being real idiots and spending your entire monthly budget. You've got to be kidding me. This is not the way to be when you're trying to run a business. Your boss, Spencer, is really pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at you. You have some nerve. you know, get a grip. You you have to control yourself. You can't just go out and spend all the money that you're making, you two beards guys. Oh no, this is coming out so stupid. Anyway, behave yourselves, or I'm gonna cut you off from watching AEW. You're no longer gonna get to know, be able to meet my son. What? Or me. I'm sorry, this is like, I don't know. Anyway,